Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome in on a Monday morning. What a weekend that was. So much football and some pretty intriguing basketball, too. We'll get to the Jazz and their double overtime win over the Bulls. We'll do that coming up in our next segment. But right now, let's start off with BYU, a team that dug an enormous hole, came back, had a chance to tie or win, and had a clutch turnover right at the end of the game that cost them. Nonetheless, it's a quad one loss. It's basically a road game flying cross country to play UConn in Boston. It's not like that's going to hurt them a lot in the tournament. Win might have helped them with some seeding, but a loss isn't going to hurt them. After the game, well, what went wrong? What did they like? Where were the silver linings? The head coach at the podium with two of his players is Kevin Young with, predictably, A.J. Dybantsa and Richie Saunders. Here they are after the game.
Kennard Davis was held out violation of team rules, so we'll to be determined on the length. I'll open it up, talk about the game. Great game.
Go ahead. AJ, chance to come back home, play at TD Garden, Jalen Brown here. Just how special was this experience for you?
No, it was exciting. Definitely see some familiar faces in the crowd. I haven't played in front of some of them people in a long, long time, so it was just good. It was a good outing.
And then Danny Hurley was just praising you for putting the first half behind you and having the quote special performance there in the second half. What allowed you to do that, and what was the key to just getting going, finding your rhythm?
Just being calm. I mean, I had Coach KY, Coach Jeyarajah telling me, let the game come to you. Don't try to force it. And that's exactly what I did.
Coach, can you tell us what's up with Kava? How is he doing? What's the outlook?
Yeah, honestly, I still have not gotten an update. I know it was determined pretty quickly that he was not going to return, so I still need to get with the medical guys to get a full update.
What did you feel about the start of the game, and then what turned it around?
Well, I thought we were playing too fast. Their pressure bothered us, which surprised me a little bit because I think we're a hard team to pressure with Rob and AJ. But we were careless with the ball. And then, at halftime, we just talked about trying to play more of our style, which is get to the paint and be able to come on, play off 2 feet and play a little bit more controlled. I thought that they were very concerned about AJ and Rob, and some of their decisions in the first half weren't great. And then in the second half, once they kind of got that under control, we were able to score. I mean, we scored 52 points in the second half. Pretty impressive because it's a really good defensive team. But obviously, we made some threes as well in the second half to kind of open some space and open some driving lanes. But I think AJ showed how special he can be when he's able to just get to his spot and like he said, let the game come to him and just play under control. He can do some good things.
AJ, you seemed a lot more decisive coming into that second half with the spots you wanted to get to and what you were looking for. Was that a conscious change in mindset of like, okay, this is what's open right now with the way they're playing us? Or was that just something you feel out?
No, it's something I feel. Just taking what they give me. If they're going to force me mid, I was just going to take the mid. I'm not going to try to force the baseline. It's just shots I work on every single day at 6:30. So, I was just trying to shoot those shots.
Kevin,
do you think you were able to throw this many defensive looks at them coming in, or were you just trying to find something that kind of worked? And what do you think kind of led to some of the stops to come back into?
I mean, there's a lot that happened in that game that I didn't think was going to happen. I didn't think we'd lose Cava right at the beginning of it. But we had, look, they're a really good offensive team, and they run a lot of. They're very layered. Their offense is very layered. Like most teams, you guard one action and then it kind of stops. They do a good job of keeping their kind of thing going. So we wanted to disrupt their rhythm. And I thought in order to do that, we had to switch up our defenses. So it definitely was in the cards. I thought we got pretty deep into the defensive bag, and we were throwing pretty much everything at them. I thought my staff did a good job of keeping fresh ideas. I thought the full court pressure really bothered them, which allowed us to kind of just muck the game up. Sometimes you got to do that, and it was good to see our guys execute a lot of different coverages.
The word growth a lot from one game to the next, how much you've seen just in your development or whatever. And I was curious, how much does a game like this where you're at home, playing from behind, you're trying to use the word calm, like how much does that help you grow in terms of like staying poised, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely just coming in as a freshman, it's like a new environment. I played in NBA arenas before, but I haven't played in like one field like this. And obviously they brought a lot of fans and everything like that. So I just had to stay calm, stay poised, like my coach just told me.
Coach, your team, you're down 20 and you come back and you showed a lot of resolve, and you lost a big man early. How can you build on even though it's a loss? How can you build on that?
Yeah, I mean, this is how you grow. You go through the pressure cooker, you go through adverse times, and I think it's part of the season. You got to learn from the good and bad. Like Richie, as an example, he was having a hard time making shots from the outside, so he put his head down and got to the rim a number of times, and really was trying to will his way to helping the team. And so I think as you go through a season, I said this after our last game, every game kind of has a life of its own, so you got to figure out, what's the recipe for that specific game. And then by the time you get to the end of the season, you have a pretty good reference point, and you're able to. That's why games like this help you in the postseason and later in the year, because you can always go back to, hey, remember that one time we got to do X, Y, or Z. And so, for a young guy like AJ, I think that's super important. For a guy like Richie, who has a lot of experience, I rely on him, to share that wisdom with our guys, and that's what we hope to take from this game.
Richie down 18-20 in the second half. You guys didn't seem to look like you had a lot of energy, but then there was a decision to go to pressure. How did that decision come about, and what were you feeling at the time? What did you see out of your teammates in that moment of adversity?
Yeah, I mean, it just shows a lot about what we're about, just figuring out. I think we, especially as a young group, that comes with a lot of energy. And I love playing around these guys because of that. Every day in practice, it's like that. And so, it's frustrating to come up short like that. But the one thing that I'll take is that, like, we're not going to stop. We're not going to give up, even when adversity hits and we're down like that.
Right here. Just because Silas was walking through what he saw on that last handoff play, and I was curious, he's like, there's no way we're going to let AJ get the ball in that situation. And I was curious what you saw as a developer, because it looked like routine play, but in a 3-point game, nothing routine. So I was curious what you saw as a handoff.
Yeah, I mean, Rob had the ball. I trust him with his decisions. I feel like he's one of the better point guards in the country, if not the best point guard. Obviously, you probably seen that they doubled me, so we tried to split it, but I don't know who got their hand on the ball. It might have been Silas, and that kind of sniffed it out. So just a good defensive play.
Any more questions?
I don't really like that.
Oh yeah, use your loud voice.
AJ, I wanted to know, we kind of had an inkling that there would be a lot of UConn fans in this arena. Were you expecting it to get that loud in that first half, and how did you kind of feel yourself adjust to the NBA arena noise filled with opposing team fans, even though you're home?
No, I kind of expected it. I seen all over social media that they're going to have a whiteout here, and I know that they're known for traveling. I mean, UConn's not that far away, but I knew they're going to come travel. I knew it was going to be loud.
Go ahead.
Coach, want to ask what the experience has been like coaching AJ so far, and getting acclimated to the college game and your program so far.
Oh, it's been a good experience. He's a mature young man. I think I respect about him is he's come in here and he respects things that are were already in place. I think he respects what Richie did for our team last year. I think he respects the fact that Richie was the first team all-league player, most improved player in our league, and come in and not made it all about himself. But at the same time, he's been able to deliver in big moments for us. He did it in the Villanova game, took the game over down the stretch. Made some huge plays tonight repeatedly. But the way he goes about his business, I really respect it. I think he's a very mature young man, and obviously the talent is on full display. But what's more impressive is how he goes about his business. I mean, I've been around some of the greatest players that this game's ever had, and they all have the same thing in common in terms of how they go about their approach and how much they're a student of the game and how hard they want to be coached. And I see a lot of similarities in his mentality, similar to the great guys I coached. Was very fortunate to coach in the NBA.
Okay, we'll go Tad, and then we'll have the last question here.
Kevin, can you talk about that decision to go to full court pressure and all the switching defense that you did, the zones?
Yeah, I mean, in a game like that, man, when you feel like the whole world's working against you, you just kind of have to, like I said, every game has a life of its own. So we were trying to push the right buttons. Like I said, I give my staff credit for coming up with different ideas and, different things I'm trying to process in real time of my own ideas. And so but at the end of the day, the guys have to execute it. And so, again, to your question before, I think that's a reference point we can use as we move forward. For us, this is still all new for me, like the whole college, right? So, like last year, we had no good games, like at all, to start the year. We were like playing respectfully teams that weren't that good. So for me, it's like now all of a sudden you're playing in a game that high level this early in the season, and it puts you in situations that otherwise like last year we didn't face any of that, and it hurt us when we started the conference play. And so I think it's it's really good for our group to have to execute different things or whatever the case may be, but just to play in a heated game like that, I think is really going to help us as we, like I said, start to just navigate the rest of our year, and particularly when we get to the latter part of the season.
The last question right here. AJ, I want to piggyback off of that answer. As Richie, as coach would tell you, Big 12 arenas are very tough to play in. Tonight, it was a bit of a mixed crowd, obviously a home game for you, obviously a big contingent coming from Connecticut. Is there anything that you took away from this pressure, this environment of this game that you're going to look forward to applying when you play in Lubbock or in Houston or wherever you play down the road?
Just don't let it get to you. Obviously, like when you're shooting free throws, I missed some big ones, but you can hear the crowd in the background or you can see it behind the backboard. So just try not to, let that affect you and just try to use it as motivation.
There's Kevin Young, AJ Dybantsa, and Richie Saunders after BYU loses a squeaker to UConn. A reminder to join Jake and Ben tomorrow from 10 to noon at Belliston Jewelry in Ogden, 1155 36th Street. Belliston Jewelry, locally made just for you, cherished for generations. When we come back, the Jazz win in double overtime. We'll get to the Best of Jazz postgame show. Stay with us. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5 The Zone. Well, the Utah Jazz get a win. They beat the Bulls in double overtime, 150 to 147. A wild game. Lauri Markkanen goes for 40 again. Let's get to Jake and the Best of the postgame show.
Sure Jazz recap here on DJ and PK 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott with you. The Jazz win in double overtime over the Chicago Bulls, 150 to 147, thanks to a last-second three-point bucket from Keontae George to win it. Keontae finished the game with 33 points and 6 assists. Lauri Markkanen led the way. Man, he's off to a monster start this year. He had 47 points on 15 of 33 shooting, 6 of 17 from 3 in the win for the Utah Jazz. Let's get to the postgame sound and Jazz head coach Will Hardy.
It's a really gritty win. I think the emotional highs and lows that go into the end of that game, you can't underestimate. So many guys made an impact tonight. Obviously Lauri is going to get talked about a lot, and he carried us. His presence settled us down. He didn't carry us. His presence settled us down for the majority of the game. Keontae had a tough start and then really came on in the second half and overtime, made some big plays. I thought having he and Zay in the game helped us a lot. Bryce deserves a lot of love tonight. His minutes have not been super consistent. I think he played about 20 minutes straight in that game, made some really big shots, made some big plays. I think his engagement on the defensive end is continuing to go up. Nurk has been, really a centerpiece in our team and doesn't get talked about really at all. But the screen setting, the rebounding, the rebound at the end to get those free throws is a huge play. I could go down the list and talk about every guy, but more than anything, we're showing growth in terms of our mindset. When things don't go well at the end of regulation and we end up in overtime, things don't go well at the end of the first overtime, we end up in double overtime. And the guys stayed focused and made a lot of big plays. I'm just proud of them for hanging in the fight, and it's a great team win. I thought our fans were incredible tonight. I thought the energy in the building was tremendous. Really proud of the team.
Got to ask about the delay of games. Number one, the first one, it seemed like Keontae was kind of sprinting out of the tunnel to start the game.
I mean, I don't know. He has 3 hours to get dressed. I don't know what happened, but I know that I looked out there and he wasn't there and we got a delay.
The second one, what was the reason that you were given for the second?
Team attendant came out to wipe up sweat without being asked by the officials. I don't want to give money away, so I'm not going to comment on what I think of that particular moment. Christmas is coming.
Maturity of your backcourt. Is this just a victory you maybe not have been able to get in the last 2 years as those guys were first and second year players?
That's hard to say. I do feel like their presence, their communication, their understanding of what we're trying to do is for sure higher than it was last year. And so I want to give them credit for their growth. It'd be hard for me to say like, oh, last year we wouldn't have won because of where they were in their arc. But I think that, if you talk to Zay and Keontae, I coach those guys hard. And they're amazing to work with. They respond well. They understand. We go back and forth. We have moments where we butt heads, but I'm really proud of both of those guys. Being a guard in the NBA is really hard. Being a young guard in the NBA, playing down the stretch of games, having responsibility that's probably a little bit ahead of where you are in your career, those guys handle it with a lot of grace because sometimes the moments are difficult and they're front and center, but I'm proud of both of those guys.
When it comes to Bryce, you mentioned kind of his uptake on the defensive side. Where have you seen that kind of, or how have you seen that evolve, not just like in the last year, but especially in the last few weeks since the season started?
Yeah, I think he's earlier to his spots. Defense requires thinking one step ahead. And if you can get your body to a spot early, then you usually only have to move in one direction. If you are late, then you have to go in and out, and those plays athletically are hard for anybody. So I think he's been better at being early in his help positioning so that he can just move in one direction.
How much is the shape that he's in now contributed to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the work that Bryce has done on his body shows in a lot of ways.
What does Ace need to do defensively to just be able to stay on the floor?
Yeah, it's the first 4 fouls were all pretty similar. 2 hands, kind of hand checking on drives, and and then in the second half he did a good job of showing his hands and clipped him with his hip. Those plays can happen, but those weren't why he fouled out. It was the first 4. But he understands. Like, I think for the most part, Ace has done a pretty good job of showing his hands. For whatever reason tonight, some of those guys driving downhill at him, especially in transition, like your instinct as a human is to protect this part of your body, and so you kind of go like this, and those are easy calls for the officials. So he'll look at the film, but I don't think it's an issue in this moment because we haven't had a ton of these with him.
With Keontae, of course, he had the huge basket,
Mhm.
but it's also in the little things with him. He made a lot of little reads throughout the night, just communication with Lowry, with Nurk. How have you seen him involved when it comes to his decision making, especially in crunch time situations?
Yeah, those situations we sort of try to set up the environment, and then they have to all think together. We don't do a ton of one person by themselves and everybody else watch them. So I think that Keontae's understanding of what the objective is based on who he's playing those possessions with is important. Like when he's handling and Lowry is screening, what are we trying to do? The last shot he made when Zay is the one initiating and doing the handoff to him. What is his read? You know, we've used Keontae as a screener a little bit, you know, lately. And so I think the depth of his understanding is showing because it's not just one situation. When guys are first starting out, you want to try to see growth in something, and so you keep it pretty consistent. Like, hey, you're going to be in this spot. The environment looks generally the same, so if they can get good at the reads, I think Keontae's at a point now where we can mix things up, which helps us. It keeps our opponent on their toes a little bit, but you know, he does the work in practice. He does the work watching film. Keontae's a really smart, like a really, really smart young man. You know, you guys interact with him a ton. Like, he's sharp, and we're fortunate, and I'm fortunate that I can put him in a bunch of different spots because it allows us to change things on the fly.
Does he deserve kind of a moment like this? Right?
Keontae?
I know exactly.
No. Yeah, he does. He does. Keontae works really hard. He cares as much as any guy I've been around. He wants it bad. And I'm really happy for him. So I'll be nice to him for the rest of the night.
It's okay to pat him on the
Yeah,
back.
and then I'll see him tomorrow.
That is Jazz head coach Will Hardy. Let's now move on and hear from Bryce Sensabaugh.
Kidding. I wanted Bryce Sensabaugh tonight because he made two of the biggest hustle plays that kept this game alive. Bryce,
Yes, sir.
let's walk through them. Let's talk about first. The offensive rebound was really was an absolutely fabulous play.
Yeah, man. I'm just, doing everything that I can, man. Scratching and clawing, to impact the game. And, a lot of the times late game, teams forget to box out. So, I'm just crashing through the elbows, things that we work on. And I was fortunate tonight.
You've made your life as a scorer, and you're being asked to do these other things. How's that adjustment?
Man, it's been great. It's a lot of fun, not just relying on my shot. And, just impacting the game in so many ways and becoming an all-around player is very important for me. And it's something I've been working on nonstop this season. And, I feel like it's paying off.
All right, now I'm forgetting the second one, but I talked about it throughout the broadcast. What was the second hustle play? Do you know what I'm talking about? You going to tell me which one it was? Loose ball, knocked away a loose ball or something, I think?
Dive on the floor?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. There was quite a few of them, and I'm proud of myself for that. Putting my body on the line, taking that charge. It was a block, but, things like that, just, putting my body on the line for this team to get wins is very important for me. And, that's, this team is bigger than me, so I'm going to do whatever it takes.
You've been with Key this whole journey. What did you see out of him tonight? He had a rough first half. And what did you see out of him that he bounced back tonight?
Man, this whole season, like his mental toughness has been off the charts. Like, the stuff that he has to handle as a lead guard in the NBA at such a young age. He handles it with great poise, and I tell him all the time, like, whatever you do, like, we're living and dying on that hill, and today we live, so.
And what about Lowry, back-to-back 40-plus?
Man, amazing, all-star caliber player. I should be in the MVP race right now. He's willed us to a bunch of wins this season, in this early season, and, man, he's just, we rely on that guy so much, and he's so tough. Getting to his spots, and, he's a footer, so he gets a shot off whenever he wants to. So, he makes everybody's life easier.
Super proud of you, Bryce. Great job.
Yes,
Way to
sir.
bounce back. Tough start to the season. You've earned it now. Great job.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
See you.
That's Bryce Sensabaugh. Great game for Bryce. 16 coming in off the bench and a bunch of big-time hustle plays down the stretch. Let's now hear from Lowry Markkinen.
Just getting the win. It was a hard fight, obviously, and I think everybody had to give their all tonight, and I think we can be happy about this win, but there's obviously stuff that we can fix, but it's hard to win games like this, so that's all that matters.
How much is it mental when you're playing in double overtime?
It's very mental, just executing. Everybody's tired, not just you. It's your teammates, it's your opponents. Everybody's tired. You got to understand that. And just pushing everything out of your body, and I think that takes a little mental strength, and not just physically, but like it takes obviously trying to execute down the stretch while you're tired. Defensive coverage, call it out. But these are the games that you want to play. obviously they're a lot of fun. We wish that we got it done in the regulation, obviously, but I mean, you wouldn't change double overtime game. Those are fun.
What do you think you're scoring so much this year?
I think I'm getting good looks. I've always said it about my teammates. There's them setting screens and finding me, and it wasn't different tonight. They did a great job. Feels good to see a couple go down. But obviously, I don't know if I've ever shot 33 times in a game. So I'm sure that helps. Kind of the volume is higher.
Do you feel like you're scoring more easily this year than you have in years past?
I feel like I mean, there's some easy buckets that you get when we move the ball and move the body so well that like defense gonna mess up sometimes and just get a wide open dunk with them switching off the ball or whatever. But still got to work for some of them. Obviously, NBA has a lot of good defenders, and just kind of trying to find my way.
There's Lowry, 47 points from Lowry, marking a career high 33 attempts, 15 of 33 from the field. Let's hear from the game's hero, Keontae George.
Yeah, my jersey wasn't on. That's what happened. I don't know. My age came out with that one.
Obviously, not the way that you want to start tonight, but from that being the start to then finishing out with a game winner, that's got to feel good.
For sure. I think during the third quarter, Will came up to me and he just kept telling me like the tide was going to turn at some point. And he always tells me like just play the game the right way, and the game will end up finding you. And so I try my best to, you know what I'm saying, just play in the flow, play Jazz basketball. And then, like I said, like he said, the tide started turning for me. Shots started to fall. I was able to get a couple free throws, a couple layups. But, I just think, obviously I haven't been able to watch the film, but I think I'm glad that I was able to just play in the flow of the game and not try to force so I could try to shoot myself out of a slump or whatever. I was still playing in the flow and everybody was still in rhythm.
When you're sprinting out to try and make it out there in time for tip-off, does that throw you off at the start of the game?
It got my heart rate up. That was good for me. And I was able to kind of start the game a little fast. And but, I mean, I told Scott as soon as it happened, I said there's a first time for everything.
We've seen Bryce develop this year kind of defensively, holding him accountable, but then tonight had a big impact on that side of the game. What have you seen just in that part of his development over the last 9, 12 months?
We talk about sacrifice, and I think Bryce has sacrificed a lot. Like, obviously, y'all know what he's capable of, but the fact that he's sitting down, on the court, you hear his voice. Like, he's really locked into the scheme with whoever we're playing, and then on the offensive side of the ball, you already know, like, he can shoot the ball really well. If we need him to go get one, he can. I mean, down the stretch, he had a play where he was at the elbow, and he looked around. I was like, go ahead. And so, like, I think he's really finding his identity within himself. So when he goes out on the floor, he already knows what his job is. And he just, every day, like, I see the professionalism. I see how he works. There before practice, after practice, like it's just so many things that go into him performing out there. And then he's just been staying ready. And tonight, I don't know how long he played. I think Will came in and said he played like 20 minutes straight. But I think that's just a testament to Bryce, like staying ready. Like, I mean, he could have easily just hung his head, like getting a couple DNPs and then playing 6 minutes here, 6 minutes there. But his time came tonight and he was able to close the game. So. I think for Bryce, this is a really good, I guess, I don't know how to explain it, but he should feel really good about himself, and this should start kind of his rhythm going in for the rest of the season.
As a point guard, when you see Lowry's got, like 18 and a half, 30 by the third quarter, do you want to find him more often, and how do you make that happen?
It's not about do I want to, it's about how do we. Because at the end of the day, they're going to try to ruffle him up, try to push him around. So I think, I don't know, us guards being great screeners, we're able to play out of the 5. So I think we just all got, like when he has 40, like at that point, he going to throw it up to the roof and it might go in. So, but I think to answer your question, it's just about us being great screeners and then putting pressure on the paint and then knowing that I mean, if his guy doesn't help, then it's easy layups. But if they do, then, their head coach is going to be mad. So I think it's just about, like I said, playing in the flow and finding a high hand. I mean, that's the easiest way to put it.
Those shots are the shot every kid dreams of hitting when they're on the playground by themselves. Do you still have an ability to kind of step back in the moment and realize that's just really unique and pretty special?
I mean, I probably won't really sit back and think about what you're talking about till I get home, honestly. But yeah, I mean, Will drew the play up. Obviously, Larry, we wanted to get the ball to Larry. But I think the biggest testament to Larry is, like, he was empowering me the whole time down the stretch. Like, he passing me the ball back. He like the three I had on Vucevic, like, he threw the ball back. It was like, go at him. I'm like, all right. Like, if I had 40, I'll tell you to swing me the ball. But, like, just to get that moment and for Zay to obviously trust me to make the shot. And obviously I'll go back home and watch the video. But, I mean, it was just great to hear our crowd scream and yell and get back in the win column, honestly.
That's Keontae George. Big three to win it. And the Jazz win 150-147 over the Chicago Bulls.
All right, there's the best of the postgame show. When we come back, we'll hear from a couple more guys who enjoyed wins over the weekend. Kalani Sitake and Kyle Whittingham. Stay with us. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5 The Zone. Well, BYU and Utah both win big. Dominant performances. We'll start with Kyle Whittingham. The Utes on the road at Baylor, 55-28. They ran it, and they ran it some more. So many big plays. The defense with a big pick six that helped break the game open. Here's Kyle Whittingham after the win.
Okay, proud of our guys. There was a lot of back and forth there for a while, but we just kept at it and answered the bell every time. And credit Baylor, they're a scrappy team, and the quarterback's a real weapon. It's the best receiving corps we've seen all year. There's no question about that. Tight ends outstanding, and so they got a lot going for them, particularly on offense. But our guys were dialed in tonight. Didn't have our best outing defensively as far as yardage given up, but it's passing yards are different than rushing yards. If you throw for over 400, you have less than a 50-50 chance to win. That's statistically proven, and so. Just proud of the way that the whole team hung in there. Bird Ficklin was probably the biggest catalyst for us when we needed it. He provided 2 huge runs for us, and the guy's just a really good football player. I don't know what to say. He's got a bright future, as I've said several times before, and he's just really provides a spark for us. Wayshawn Parker did a nice job. They went over 100 yards again, and he's really motivated to do that because whenever he does it, he gets to wear those pink cleats again the next week. And so I've made a deal with him, and so he gets to we see him in pink cleats next week. But thought our defense, even though we gave up some stuff, played well on third down, held them to below right around 30%, which is good defense. Ran the ball for almost 400 yards, which has kind of been our calling card this year. We're second or third in the country rushing the football, and that offensive line is a huge reason why we're able to do that week in and week out, and credit the way they played. Got decent pressure on the quarterback, not great, but enough to make it a little bit uncomfortable for him. A couple interceptions, pick six. One was a pick six. That was a big play at that time, and so yeah, a lot of good things, a lot of things in that game that for both sides that they did well, but we did enough to get the win. So questions.
Kyle, is this the most unique win you've had at Utah in quite some time in terms of the defensive struggles and that?
I'd have to go back and really look at it, but it's the most unique win, I guess you could say, in the at least the short term past. But it was definitely a back and forth, and defensively we usually control things a little bit better, but today they got a good offense, like I said, and they got some weapons over there.
Spencer Funnell said it's about time that the offense stepped up for the defense when they needed it. Kenny, what does that mean to you to be able to have an offense that does continue to kind of answer that?
Yeah, well, that's a credit to Spencer, first of all, and the kind of person he is, and he's a competitor, and he's a team guy all the way. And our offense has done pretty good this year. I mean, we're first or second in the league in a lot of categories, and they've really, when you consider how much we struggled last year, I mean, the turnaround has been remarkable. So very proud of those guys.
When you brought Bird in for Devin, was that because Devin was hurt or just because you were needing his spark?
Devin's a little bit beat up. There's no secret about that. That's no secret. And but he's a competitor. He's a warrior. He goes out, unless he absolutely can't function at all. He's going to want to play. And he wasn't his normal self tonight, but good enough to go out and do some good things. But Bird, it's great to have Bird, in the bullpen in the event that we need him.
Kyle, how much is there, maybe not a concern, but just not wanting to overwork Devin during the week, knowing that you need to get him to Saturday?
Yeah, that's every week we do that. That's a plan that we lay out, and it'll be the same this week, where he takes a lot of just mental reps, especially early in the week, and then we start to integrate him in as we get deeper into the week.
Just a quick follow-up. Do you need to see like a certain percentage of Devin during the week just to know that he is capable?
No, we just need him on game day to say I'm ready to go, because he knows this offense inside and out, as I've said many times, and the reps for him, even if they're just mental or even just not moving, but just taking the snap and going through his progression. He's a guy that he's a veteran, and if he didn't feel like he could help us win, then he'd let us know.
Is he doing any physical work during the week?
Some weeks no, some weeks yes. Yeah, I can say this: if we had to have played last Saturday, if we hadn't had a bye, he would not have been able to play. So that's without a doubt. He just wasn't ready.
Obviously, Dev and Bird seem like they have a pretty close relationship. Just speak to the unselfishness of Dev. When you go and call Bird's number and you're splitting out Devin wide or Bird wide, what does that mean in terms of his leadership, his unselfishness, and just the leadership in the locker room?
Yeah, well, that's who he is. He's an absolute team guy as well. We got a bunch of guys that are just I can't pick out a selfish player on this football team and say this guy needs to, come to the party a little bit as far as being a team guy. It's a bunch of guys all pulling in the same direction, caring more about the team than they do about themselves. And that's we say we have a lot of slogans, I guess, and fall in love with the team, not yourself. And that's what these guys have done.
Quick follow-up. Was there a decision made at halftime to kind of put Bird and get him more involved
Mm-hmm.
in the offense?
Yep,
and
there
how
was.
Did you sort of walk him through that decision?
Well, I was in with the offensive staff, and and Devin was doing what he could do, but Bird, he's a weapon, especially in that Q run game, and we just decided that, hey, let's do a little higher dose of Bird in this second half, and proved to be helpful.
How was Bird sort of growing up? Not necessarily over the course of the season, but week to week, how he learns, how he processes.
Oh yeah, he's maturing and becoming more seasoned every single week, and he has not had a game that he was inserted where the stage was too big. He's responded well every single time he's been in the game, and so like I said, the moment is not too big for Bird, and he's going to be a really good one.
Kyle, was there anything in particular that really caused you fits on the defensive side, especially secondary?
Well, just the fade balls. It's you throw up those 50-50 balls, and we didn't make enough of a percentage of them, for our liking. They're going to connect on some. Like I said, that receiving core is outstanding, and the tight end, you're going to be seeing him play on Sunday for a long time. But that we got to do a little better job of winning more of the 50-50 balls, at least tonight.
There was a scuffle during the game. What do you do with that after the fact, and kind of what has happened after that?
Yeah, well, they both got personal fouls. The Scooby, I think, is the one you're talking about down in I don't know where north and south is, that end zone, whatever, our locker room end zone. But Scooby lost his cool a little bit, and obviously the other guy had something to do with it as well, or he wouldn't have got flagged. So we'll sort that out, and I don't know if that means that Scooby's out for the first half of the next game. It does? Well, that sucks. Okay, well, yeah. So we'll, heat of the moment, competitive, but you got to keep it cool. I'm not making excuses for Scooby. I don't know enough about the situation right now to tell you a definitive course of action for us, but we'll find out.
There's Kyle Whittingham after the win. Now here's the head coach of the BYU Cougars, who also won big, who also were in complete control at halftime. Here's Kalani Sitake.
Great game. Really proud of the guys and proud of the way they bounced back, especially from last week. I felt like there was different sense of urgency from them all week long in the prep. And so I'm glad that it all worked out. And, TCU is a really good team. I think it was just a matter of us putting it all together in all three phases. I think it worked out nicely, and it felt good. This game felt like I've been asking us to do this the whole time. So it's my job to get them to play this way every game. But I'm glad that it showed up now, and especially in November, where we can try to build some momentum off of it. So, just talked to Sonny before the game and everything, and just Big 12's crazy, So around this time, you got to be ready to play at the end. And we saw a lot of the games in college football, how close they were, and so it was just nice being in control of this one. And just really proud of the guys overall. Proud of the coaches. Thought they worked really hard too, and I thought it was a really good game plan in all three phases. Not perfect enough, but we'll take the win. But there's a lot of room for improvement still, and we'll just get to work. But right now we got to celebrate it and got to praise the guys for what they were able to get done. So, what questions do you guys have for me?
When you bring up the game plan, what were the areas of focus this week offensively, kind of bouncing back from last week?
Yeah, offensively, I felt like it was just good. Let Bear throw the ball, and you don't always have to max pro for him. I think let the tackles block and let the we threw the ball in a lot of different ways, play action, but also we're able to just do some drop back pass and just open the playbook and just let us do our thing and mix in the run too. But I felt like we were just trying to do whatever we took to get points on the board and keep the first downs. That's a lot of first downs, and so it's good to put it all together and then taking care of the football. I was really pleased with how our offense did that, but it just felt like that's what we're capable of doing. We just got to keep the momentum going and get into next week.
Kalani, you scored as an offense on your first 7 drives, didn't punt until the fourth quarter. How pleased were you with the efficiency, and what do you feel like kind of keep that efficiency from inconsistency from drive to drive?
Yeah, I thought just having, it helps when you win first down, so even though I think some of the first downs were just a 3-yard gain, it's okay. And then you just build off of that. I like that the guys played pretty disciplined. I don't know how many penalties we got, but 2 penalties. I think one was the PI at the end on our backup, and then the other one was a hold. I think on Jeyarajah on the fly sweep. So other than that, the guys played pretty clean and not a lot of MAs on all 3 phases. The guys played pretty good. We can do some really good things if everyone plays clean football.
Kalani, did you allow yourself to start thinking about this notion of style points because of where the CFP is, where you are during this game at all?
I just want to win the game, and winning is the best style to me. So yeah, I wasn't thinking about any of that stuff. We're just trying to grind the clock, and we went really conservative at the end, trying to just end the game, So. And I was just happy with how the guys responded. We got some reserve guys in there and some really quality reps against their ones, and I'm glad they were able to get a stop. And gave a little bit too many yards, but they got a stop, and it'll be great to build on that.
Do you feel like you were treated fairly by the CFP committee with this last release of the ranking?
Yeah, I don't get involved in that. I'm just going to keep playing ball. So yeah, I'm probably the wrong guy to ask about that stuff. We just play ball. Huh?
You were pretty fired up after that Satawala interception, and add Tanner Wall's interception to hold this offense to just 1 touchdown. What does that say about the opportunistic nature of this team?
Yeah, I thought defensively, Jay Hill and the staff, the defensive staff did an amazing job prepping for this game, and then the players just executed everything that we asked them to, and they were able to get some chunk yardage. I think in the run game, they were trying to force the run, but it got to the point where it was too far. They were too far behind to catch up. And so we knew that we could make it hard on them, at least limit the big plays. But I thought overall defensively, great game plan. I was fired up about Fale's interception because Tausili got some pressure. That's what we brought him here to do, to get some pressure. And he had a really good game, and we just got to get him on the field. And Nusi and all those guys done a great job. So we used a bunch of guys, and it's just nice to see them coming along and giving them opportunities to make plays. I was fired up for the entire defense on that.
What were your thoughts on the physicality of the offense? You guys had 13 more minutes, time of possession. Just speak to kind of the methodical drives you guys sustained to get scoring drives.
Yeah, I like that. So I'm an old fullback, so that's my kind of style, you know. And, it was good to see the guys get some hard yards in there and just play some physical football. So that was a lot of fun.
Kalani, what made you want to change punters this week?
Well, Sam punted last week. He was banged up. He was hurt on his kicking leg. So that probably explains some of the shanks that he had. He had a couple shanks, and that wasn't like, that's not how he kicks normally. So I think you remember at the end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth, we were trying to pin them deep, and he went off the side of his foot. And so the decision was to let him hold and then rest him from kicking. And so I hope that you know, he can be ready to go this next week. But Fuller is great. Fuller can kick. He's got a strong leg. It's just unfortunate that he dropped the ball on that one, and because he's such a talented kicker. And so, you know, we still believe in him. He's still young, but I think he'll get his opportunities. And I told him, you know, we still have faith in him being a kicker for us.
How did you feel Bear rebounded from last week's performance today?
Yeah, I thought he did a good job. I thought he looked different this week in practice. I think he wasn't happy with the result and how he played last week, and I like when guys, you know, show it in the week of prep, and so all week in practice he was a little bit different. He was more focused on what he wanted to get done this weekend, so it was good to see that.
How big of a
He's
focus?
growing up. Huh?
How big of a focus was it to get LJ a bigger volume of touches? You got 25 touches tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we know that if we can just give him the ball, he's healed up a little bit, so he can deliver, you know, a little bit of some punishment. So I don't mind letting him earn those yards like that. It's okay.
Carson had one of the best performances of his college career tonight with 79 yards and a touchdown. What does it do for you guys' offense to really get the tight end involved in the passing game like that?
Yeah, I'm really proud of all that Carson does. I mean, I know tonight he was able to catch the ball, but for the most part, he's been amazing all year long, blocking and working with Kean and Noah and the other tight ends. They've done a great job. So just really proud of all that he's done. It was good to see him get the ball and score.
Piggybacking off of that, Carson Ryan, the way that Aaron utilized him, he was extending him out, getting some isolated one-on-one situations on the peripheral kind of offensive formations rather than in line. Could you kind of expound on that?
Yeah, I think, looking at the game plan, A-Rod did a great job at organizing different looks, and then, you know, throwing bullet screens out there a little bit. He's athletic enough that he can run routes on DBs, but he's also, he's physical, that you can use him to block too out in space. So, it's just been really nice to be able to use all the guys and all the weapons that we have, and it was good that everybody was able to execute. So, just really proud of overall the performance.
You brought up Telsili, Ukana, and Newsy got a sack late. How do you feel this pass rush is coming along as the final stretch run of the season?
Yeah, they're still young, so they're coming along really nicely, and it's the right timing. So we'll see what happens. We got another beast next week, you know, and Cincinnati throws the ball all over the place, so this will be a good opportunity for those guys to see what they can do. But yeah, I'm just really pleased with everybody and how they worked this weekend tonight.
You lost Waylon in game due to injury. Was he the only one that went down that you're aware of?
Yeah, I think he'll be fine. He's tough, you know. We just have a really good rotation, and there's no point in putting him in if he wasn't going to be 100%. You know, Sonny and Kyle and the rest of them can take care of it. So, and Austin and those guys.
Pretty minimal comparative to the teams that you're competing against, especially this late in the season. What do you attribute that to, the minimal amount of individuals that are out?
Oh, you're talking about injuries? Yeah, I think a lot of factors go into it. One is the training room. You know, our trainers have done an amazing job with our doctors, and then you have to give a lot of credit to the strength room, to our strength coaches, to Phyllis and the group, and Skylar's done a great job organizing the entire thing. So when they are able to, you know, we use science with what we do, and we've been physical. You know, we've been physical this entire season, and especially during camp. And so I think that stuff is all starting to carry over. And I think right now I expect our guys to be stronger now than they've ever been. And so the statistics tell us that, and the analytics tell us that we're doing a really good job right now, and probably in better shape now than we were even 6 weeks ago. So that's good going into to the end of the season.
All right, there's Kalani Sitake after BYU picks up the win. Now they are off to Cincinnati for a big game next week. A reminder, you can nominate the youth sports volunteer that you know for the Hercules Hero of the Week. Submit your nomination at kslsports.com/contest and listen every Thursday to JJ and Alex for the winner. Help us celebrate the efforts of those volunteers making an impact with the Hercules Hero of the Week, sponsored by Hercules First Federal Credit Union and Beehive Meals. What is trending? The headlines are next.
It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know. News update.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag Utah Jazz.
Nurkic inbounding. Nurkic holding. Jazz run around. Keontae has it. Baseline, fadeaway, air ball. And we're going to overtime. Giddey gets the ball to White in the backcourt. Rolls off a Vooch pick to his right. Tax Marketing to the rack. Finger roll layup good with 0.2 seconds left. And Jazz need to inbound. Marketing gets a shot off. They'll rule it no shot. And we get double overtime. Keontae inbounding. It's immediately to Collier. Uncontested. Marketing sets a pick. Collier veers to his right. 4 seconds. Hands to Key. 3. Good! Keontae George with 0.8 seconds left. Keontae George with a kill shot.
Highlights as the Utah Jazz beat the Chicago Bulls in double overtime, 150-147. Started playing a little better defense there in the second half, PK, after giving up 7 in the first half, and they climbed back in that one. Marketing game-high 47. Keontae George, 33 points. He did do it on 30 shots. And they get the victory. And I'm sure some fans are very excited by that, and some are distraught over that. But that's just going to be the story all year.
Distraught?
Distraught. They're going to lose that shot at getting A.J. Dybantsa and a top draft pick, and they might have to send it to Oklahoma City. And they've got the 20th or 21st best record in the NBA right now.
Well, if it comes at the expense of winning, isn't that good?
Depends on the fan you talk to. The problem and the risk is getting stuck in the middle without stars. Good players playing hard, but none of the elite
guys
talent.
Short 44 and that's minutes. 33 and 47.
Yeah.
And Mike Smith telling me that Lowry Marketing is the most unique 7-footer in the league. Mike, I love you. You got a little caught up there. I'd go with Wembanyama. But I love the enthusiasm. I love the energy. It's fun. It's
Joker?
supposed to be fun.
Joker? He's pretty unique.
Yeah.
I mean, we're getting into very unique. Like, well, if you're unique, you're unique.
But, I mean, Marketing, every time he plays in the Euro, he's just he plays really well in the regular season. He's an all-star. We're talking all-stars already. We ain't even got the Turkey Day.
It does seem a little early.
Isn't that fun, though? Isn't it better than
Well, I think the way he's
a dead arena doing nothing?
The way he's scoring it, I get the argument.
Well, that's his job.
Yeah, it is. And now with Kessler off the floor, maybe there's a little more space inside. I mean, he was cutting to the hoop, getting layups and dunks. I thought you'd be applauding that. Easy
I was
buckets.
standing up. Oh, I was there. It's the best game of my life.
Not nonstop threes.
Half of them were in 17 and 33 shot attempts. But that's the game today. I've long since accepted it. And Keontae hitting the big three, and he was 2 for 10 at that. No problem. I got stones. And if you don't like it, tough. And referees, man, I felt like it was the 90s, man. You got Will Hardy swearing on television.
He was. He did.
The big combo?
That was bleeping what bleep? I'm sorry. Could you repeat that? Oh, he can repeat that. It was bleeping what bleep?
Even you, an expert lip reader, we didn't need it because I have ears.
You can literally hear it.
Yeah. I turned to my family.
Mopping up sweat.
I turned to my family on a Sunday night and I said, I apologize. You shouldn't have to hear that on this day. That's another reason why they should never play Sunday home games. Profanity in my living room.
There it was.
In my living room where my children play with their toys.
Wait, someone just left the Jazz and went to the Godfather. Jazz pick up win number 5. Onward and upward.
They didn't get that till March last year.
I heard that. They hit the road now. Got the Lakers tomorrow night. Lakers top 4 in the West, off to a fast start of their own. Will LeBron be back? Well, we got 2 days to talk about that. DJ PK.
Hashtag NBA.
An independent law firm hired by the NBA has requested records from individuals and teams, including the Lakers, as part of a league investigation into illegal gambling allegations laid out in a federal indictment that resulted in the arrest of Terry Rozier and Damon Jones. Laker assistant trainer Mike Mancius and executive administrator Randy Mims are among approximately a dozen team employees who have been contacted and cooperating with the investigation with their links to LeBron James.
Not Randy Mims, no!
Yes.
I think it's several teams. I don't know why we're specifically highlighting the Lakers, I guess because of LeBron.
And the Lakers, right?
Well, if it was without LeBron, it wouldn't matter as much. But we'll see. I say get him out. If whoever did it, I'm not saying Randy Mims did anything wrong. I never even heard of him. But I think a lot of it is the Lakers. They're that catches your eye.
It does. Few games in the NBA going head-to-head with the NFL. The Warriors have won 3 in a row on the road after sweeping back-to-back in San Antonio. They lit up the Pelicans, who are 2-11 and going nowhere.
Yeah, they were talking about this on NBA radio this morning, that Draymond got a fan kicked out because the fan called him Angel Reese. Is that really crossing the line?
If that's the only thing that was said, I would be surprised that would trigger an ejection.
But yet it did.
And there it is. DJ PK.
Hashtag college basketball.
Well, I thought we were playing too fast. Their pressure bothered us, which surprised me a little bit because I think we're a hard team to pressure with Rob and AJ. But we were careless with the ball. And then, at halftime, we just talked about trying to play more of our style, which is get to the paint and be able to come on, play off 2 feet and play a little bit more controlled. But obviously, we made some threes as well in the second half to kind of open some space and open some driving lanes. But I think AJ showed how special he can be when he's able to just get to his spot and like he said, let the game come to him and then just play under control. He can do some good things.
There's Coach Kevin Young after BYU loses to UConn 86-84. Dug a big hole, came back, got within 2, had a turnover there in the final seconds that sunk them. But maybe they were really sunk by the fact that UConn shot 57%.
Yeah, it can't happen. That can't happen.
Not if you're planning on winning, right?
But, overall, it was a great experience for this team. I got nothing bad to say about them.
Go to Boston, get tested, 2-point game. I mean, is it neutral court? Yes, officially, but come on, you went to Boston and UConn went up the road, so.
Yeah, you flew 5 hours and the other ones drove an hour. Tops.
I can't imagine that this is going to hurt them a lot. Obviously, a win could have helped them a lot.
That's fine. It doesn't matter. They're going to be in the tournament.
They've got lessons to learn from all of this stuff, lessons they weren't learning
Cato went
last
down,
year.
Looked like he took a shot to the head, and Davis is suspended, so they're down 2 starters on that game. It was a great experience. That's all that matters. And they come back. They got Wisconsin on Friday afternoon, too. Weird start at like 2 o'clock.
Jazz game that night, too.
So that should be another good opportunity. You got a bunch of dogs you play, and so you got a few games that are highlight games in the non-con before you get into the tough schedule that is the Big 12s. It was just a great experience. That's all that matters. They'll be fine.
Utah State blows out UTEP 75-51. Utah beats Sam Houston 85-79. DJ and PK.
Hashtag NFL.
So here they go. Warner in the backfield. Algier in the barrel with Penix.
Yeah, you're going to get a taste of the bowling ball right here.
Here's Penix. Hands to Algier. Right side. Touchdown, Atlanta.
3 receivers to the left. Cook to the right of Allen in the shotgun here on 2nd and 4. Allen back to pass. Now going to tuck it and run as he's looking for the end zone. And the surge pushes him in for his 6th touchdown of the season or the game.
Under center is Trevor. They fake the toss. They throw it to the back of the end zone. Caught for the touchdown. A play fake. Tim Patrick in the back of the end zone. A 1-yard touchdown pass. They've extended the lead. How good is that?
Matthew Stafford has a snap. Fakes, boots, throws to the right flat. Caught by Parkinson at the 5. Makes a Seahawk miss against his former team. Colby Parkinson puts it in the paint. Touchdown Matthew Stafford. Touchdown Colby Parkinson. Touchdown LA.
Flacco gets his snap. Back to pass. Steelers bringing 5. Flacco over the middle of the field. It's picked off. It's Duggar. Duggar to the 40-yard line. Racing across the 50 to the 40. Looking for a block from Herbig. Gets it streaking down the left sideline. Makes Chase miss and waltzes into the end zone.
Snap placement. Kick on the way. And it is good. They don't block this one like last year in Kansas City. And on the final play of the game, the Denver Broncos have beaten the Kansas City Chiefs by a final score of 22-19.
9 straight division titles for the Chiefs, but after that loss in Denver, they are now 3 games down in the loss column with 6 to go. It looks like there'll be a new champ in the AFC West. The Chiefs are scrambling to get a wild card, currently on the outside looking in, but they've got 7 games left to fix that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say champ. I mean, to me, you finish first place in your division. You don't get a trophy for that. But they may not even make the postseason. The reign looks like it's certainly declining, if not over. And I would imagine maybe Andy Reid would take a look at how long he wants to keep doing it if it comes to that. And then
it would really be over if he did
freaking
that.
T-Swift's out. Ain't going to be hanging around with a loser.
Not here for your 5-5.
I want the attention. I ain't getting attention if you ain't winning.
So many field goals for Seattle, but the Rams win the showdown between NFC West co-leaders. Rams 21-19 as Seattle settles for 4 field goals, 1 long one, 3 short ones there, but the Rams find a way to get it done again, and they're 8-2, tied for the best record in the NFC. With the Eagles, who won another touchdown challenged game. 6 field goals for the Lions and Eagles, 1 TD. Philly gets the TD, they win the game. Actually, the Lions did have a TD, didn't they, in the second quarter? I take that back. You're surprised to see the Jaguars running all over the Chargers, 35-6?
Yeah.
192 yards rushing and 4 TDs?
Yeah.
Steelers win, but Aaron Rodgers' left arm, what happened? Multiple guys falling on him. He got up and left the field, left the game. They got it done against the Bengals, 34-12. They're 6-4. Game in front of the Ravens, who've now won 4 in a row as their schedule is lightened up, and they've got more winnable games. I'd expect the Ravens to keep rolling here.
Me too.
They beat the Browns 23-16.
Way to go.
Monday Night Football. Raiders, Cowboys. A couple of teams with losing records going nowhere right there. DJ and PK.
Hashtag Utah.
1 for 4 on 3rd down. Picked off, going the other way, and Elijah Davis will not come back. 65 yards. We tried to tell you, these corners are ruthless. And Parker, no one was there. He's gonna go untouched. Too easy for Wayshawn Parker. 64 yards. Ficklin in at quarterback. Ficklin with the fake, he will run it. Picks up a block on the right side. Ficklin, the hezzy, shoves the defender out of the way. Ficklin still motoring. Come on now, the kid's a star.
Highlights as the University of Utah blows out Baylor 55-28. Stop me if you've heard this song before, PK. The Utes ran, and ran some more. 380 yards, a massive number. And Ficklin with 2 huge touchdown runs. 55-28, another blowout win for the Utes.
The flick is the pick. Man, he's getting his touchdown per capita, per carry is off the charts. Yeah, the Utes are 3rd in the NCAA in yards on the ground, only behind the 2 service academies who run the option, so no one's going to pass them. And Utes certainly aren't going to pass anybody because they don't pass.
Finally made a completion to a wide receiver with about 6 minutes left in the game. Didn't matter. Ran it some more.
Yeah.
Now they come home, senior day. What are they going to have to do, PK?
Send the seniors out on the right note?
See?
Well,
Utah and Kansas State.
They're going 10-2.
Saturday at 2. Don't see any way around it. 10-2.
Yeah.
Seems like a foregone conclusion.
Things break their way, then they'll be in the championship game there. We'll see how it plays out. But even if they don't, they've had a phenomenal season.
Utah State. It was right there. We'll talk with Bronco Mendenhall coming up at 8:30. But handful of key plays they couldn't make, mostly on special teams, and they get beat. And so, yeah, sorry.
Utah
Cheated out of the sounder.
Doesn't get their own.
Yeah, I know. Hit the sounder, Yak. Sorry, I just went right into the next game.
Hashtag Utah State.
Crowd chanting the Rebel chant. 2 receivers to the far, 1 to the near. Here we go, 3rd down. UNLV shows blitz. Can the Aggies block it up? Barnes. Quarterback draw, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, 20, 10, 5. Bryson Barnes, the pig farmer, takes it in for the score. And Utah State leads as they caught UNLV in the blitz. Here comes the official, and here comes the game.
The ruling on the field is upheld. Touchdown, UNLV.
And Utah State loses to UNLV. Final in double overtime, 29-26.
Missing field goals, missing an extra point. Didn't go for 2 after a penalty would have given a short 2-point conversion attempt. A lot of plays out there, PK, when a game goes that long. There were chances. Couldn't get a stop at the end of the game.
Well, they did get a stop in the first OT, and I thought they settled this try for a field goal. How about you try to move the ball down a little bit? Take the ball out of Piggy's hands.
Bryson Barnes had run the ball 3 times. Obviously had the touchdown run, but he had a couple other good runs before the touchdown run, and then he didn't get a carry.
Just said. Took it out of Piggy's hands.
In the, I don't think we want to call him Piggy.
Why not?
In the 6 snaps in the 2
don't, because
overtimes.
you're buttoned down. People be fine. Yeah, Piggy.
He got 1 carry in the last one. He scrambled.
Yeah.
But the QB draw that UNLV couldn't stop, the QB run, they just went away.
I thought the play calling sucked in the first overtime.
Yeah, and in the second one. First and second down in the second overtime, too.
Didn't understand it.
Now they get their last road game at Fresno State, 8:30 on the CBS Sports Network Saturday night. DJ and PK.
Hashtag BYU.
He drops back in coverage, and Bachmeier, the hole opens, and he sprints through it into the end zone for a touchdown. 17 yards on 3rd and long. Bachmeier across the middle to the tight end. More broken tackles. There goes Carson Ryan. Dives for the pylon. Touchdown. 43 yards. Slant. McAllister tip ball. Interception BYU. And going back the other way. The cut inside. Now back to the outside. The shove. Pylon. Touchdown.
BYU taking control of that game early and cruising to the win. Bounce back. Nothing to worry about there, PK. Nothing to worry about.
Bachmeier's your first team all Big 12 quarterback.
It's going to beat out all the other established names. They're going to reward the winning.
Who would be ahead of him? Nobody.
No. I mean, Morton, no.
Morton missed almost 3 games.
Yep.
Dampier, first team all running back. Yeah. Amazing performance by the young freshman. Not the old freshman, the young freshman. And they win Cincinnati, they're going to Dallas. They lose to Cincinnati, it's up in the air. Because I don't think they're going to lose to UCF. So with that in mind, you beat Cincinnati. Cincinnati's out of it. Yeah, you don't literally clinch it, but you effectively do.
Feels like the last challenge. And that really wasn't much of a challenge with TCU. 10-0 there in the first quarter. Came out with, 5-6 straight scoring drives to open the game?
Yeah, they were dominant.
Yeah. 7 straight, yes. All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone.
Hashtag college football.
Texas A&M down 30-3. How did they do that? What a halftime speech. What adjustments. 4 straight touchdowns. They come back and they win 31-30. Remain undefeated. Alabama didn't do the locals a favorite. Beat Oklahoma, Alabama. Come on. But no, Oklahoma goes to Alabama and wins 23-21.
Well, I think Oklahoma should be in.
Looks like they will be. That was a massive win for them.
I mean, you had Kalen DeBoer, all that. You guys got 6 losses in less than 2 years, and he's all that. I didn't see it.
Georgia blows out Texas 35-10, so the locals will probably climb 1 spot, but that doesn't get them where they need to be yet. Need some more help. And Notre Dame taking care of business. They dominated. They got an early lead on Pitt and rolled 37-15. So I think Notre Dame's pretty much punched their ticket to the playoff as well. It's something astounding here in the last 2 weeks. Arizona beats Cincinnati, PK. Does that make you more confident in BYU going in there, or every week's its own thing?
I think every week's its own thing in this conference. This conference is incredibly fun. Arizona's a hot ball club. You got Houston and Arizona, most overachieving. Although I think the Devils, they've overachieved given all their injuries. But nevertheless, they were picked to be higher, so they won't. Dillingham won't get any run there. But Cincinnati now 2 in a row. They're going to be hungry like the Wolves.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
Mariners are holding on to Josh Naylor to a 5-year contract, re-signing the first baseman. Dodgers utility man Kike Hernandez left elbow surgery. Free agent in the offseason. He might miss part of spring training. It's your hot stove news.
You know Kobe Bryant, every 4th of July, their family tradition was to watch Sandlot?
I did not.
Now you know.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag golf.
Adam Schenk wins the Bermuda Championship, 12 under. Zach Blair tied for 9th at 8 under. He's 4 back. Patrick Fishburne 1 under, tied for 34 in the money.
So the guy's last name is Shank?
Schenk with an E, not an A. Close, though. DJ and PK.
Hashtag NHL.
Utah Mammoth lose to the Islanders in overtime. They'd been so good in overtime, but eventually I guess it's bound to go against you, PK.
Yeah.
Pick up 1 point in that, lose 3-2. Utah's in Anaheim tonight to take on the Ducks. Puck drops at 8 o'clock. Coverage starts at 7. There are your headlines. What is trending is brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. All right, coming up, Bronco Mendenhall at 8:30. What went wrong in Las Vegas? We'll talk with him. Shehan Jeyarajah joins us at 9 o'clock. Talk about the Big 12 race in Cincinnati. Are they going to pull it together or not as BYU comes to town? That's coming up at 9 o'clock. The question of the day is next.
You've been listening to The Zone for decades.
Yeah!
But now you can watch the guys break down your favorite teams.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Catch the video stream of DJ and PK, Jake and Bat, Hanson Scotty, and JJ and Alex right now at KSLSports.com or by searching KSL Sports on YouTube. Utah's best sports radio is on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Join Hans and Scotty live tomorrow from noon to 3 at the Grill, 2264 South Main Street in Nephi. Question of the morning. BYU blows out TCU to move 1 game closer to a spot in the Big 12 championship game. Is your faith restored in the Cougars?
I believe, brother.
Frank, it was never in question to begin with. BYU's defense will take them to the Big 12 championship.
Okay. I think your offense needs to take them too.
Neil, my faith in BYU never wavered.
I guess you didn't watch the Texas Tech game. And the fact that they were in this position last year and they couldn't come up with a W, as you would say. And they got it this time in convincing fashion.
Scott is not counting the chickens because the eggs have not hatched. Got one more first. All right, so he's counting one of them. They got two more. He's not worried about UCF. He's worried about Cincinnati.
Well, I think if they beat Cincinnati, they'll beat UCF. And get themselves into Arlington.
Case, the injuries are much better. They are a great team. A-Rod still drives me nuts.
I'd fire the guy.
44 points just not enough for you.
He's not acceptable. Never has been. I don't know. I wish he'd take one of these jobs that he took and then quit before he ever took them. He's a bum.
Yeah, bum.
It doesn't matter who's in that position. It's going to drive you nuts. You're going to have Norm Chow at his finest or whoever you look for toward as a great coordinator. It is that position is probably the highest profile position that's got to go if you don't score every time.
Kalani said that exact thing earlier this season.
Yeah, so, but that just means they have a passionate fan base. So you got to take the good with the bad, and I think that stuff rolls off. Guys who've been in this business for many years, rolls right off their backs. They know when they're doing well, and they know when they need to get better, or they're under the gun and all that stuff. They don't need to be told. And you've been coaching 20 years and all that, and so it's the nature of that biz, and especially for BYU too, with everything they do is such under the spotlight. It's good and can drive you crazy sometimes.
Dustin, keep winning. Don't let your guard down. I want to see Texas Tech again. Well, think you had a pretty good shot at that, Dustin.
Yeah, I think right now they're the odds-on favorite, but, you know, when I was a kid going to school, the Devils, I think before they got to the Rose Bowl, there's at least 3, maybe 4 times they just had to win one game.
Couldn't do it.
People bought roses to the game, and you know, it was such a big deal. We're going back to the early 80s when I was a student, and they couldn't get it done. And this conference is sick. This conference is sick, brothers. And I call you my brothers because I feel like you are. And it's not necessarily to the point of anything can happen, but things can happen. And having Cincinnati beat BYU in a football game is not an outrageous thought. So, especially at the end there, and you're gripping the ball a little bit. We'll see what happens. But, yeah, they got work to do. And it's going to be so intriguing if they get it done. It's a huge win. That plane ride next Saturday night would just be incredible for them coming back. And then all I have to do is wrap it up at home, and then they're in, and then they got their wish. You know, Chase Roberts basically guaranteed. He went Joe Namath on that. You can find that clip if it gets to it leading up to that after that Texas Tech loss. We're going to beat them. I'm paraphrasing, but I believe that's what he said. And so you get that opportunity. And Tech knows that either, certainly both, BYU, Utah, want that chance. And when we get to that point, they're thinking, here, you got your chance, and we're going to smack you down again.
That is what they're thinking.
Yeah. But we'll see on that. I don't think BYU can play any worse than they did. I suppose they could, but I don't think realistically that they can. But that's still 3 weeks away. And now they've got – this is what they've wanted, man, and they talked about it. They talked about finishing the deal. Okay. And that was an impressive win for them. There's no question about that, to just control the game start to finish. I mean, TCU, they're okay. They're not great. They're okay. I mean, if you look at what Utah's done, TCU, they didn't play them, but that would be as good a win as Utah's had.
That looked like some of the wins Utah's been putting on the board the last 3 or 4 games. Just complete control. You knew at halftime who was going to win. It's a late night game. If you want to take off because you got a long drive and you took the kids, fine. Hit it.
No, you stay to the end. You've only 6 or 7 of these go home.
Yeah.
What do you go home for?
People do.
Well, everybody goes home eventually. I look forward to my grand return to home.
You had no doubt who was going to win that game at halftime.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I can't argue that's their second best win. The best win, of course, would be Utah. Right? We got 3 teams ranked in the conference. And Arizona's a good win now, too. Arizona.
That one's got to be right up there.
Yeah,
You're right.
Yeah. In Tucson? Yeah. They could possibly go to 8-9 wins. They got a lot of decent wins on their schedule, and they got to get one more. And then it's set up. And the way they did it, they needed, not that they necessarily needed for themselves, but I think BYU does not get the benefit of the doubt because they haven't been on the stage in a while. Utah does get the benefit of the doubt because they have been on the stage recently. And with that in mind, you just look at the score and go, and they control that game. They control that team. And they look good offensively. I mean, I can argue that was their best showing in conference offensively.
Yes. The most control they've had a game in the conference probably since East Carolina, which obviously is non-conference.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
Iowa State, that was a great second half, but the start wasn't there, and they dug a hole in that one. So
right,
as much as
games,
the
that's
end,
what they did. This was a 4-quarter performance by the offense. I really can't ask for more. And the Grizz continues to have no turnovers, control the ball. You got to love the kid. You got to love the way he plays. You just it's so steady. I mean, if I picked one word, it would be steady. The way he plays, you just don't see a whole lot of wild emotional swings, and that's great. That's not, you got to be who you are, and that apparently is who he is. That he's under control, which is great in terms of when bad stuff happens. Maybe you'd want him to celebrate a little bit more and all that, but you got to be true to your personality, and I'm fine with it because there's no emotional swings out of him. Body language, I've said this 1,000 times, I'm a big body language guy. He throws a pick, which have been a few, or makes something bad, he seems unfazed in terms of that's not like just sulking or thinking, oh my gosh, I suck, blah, blah, blah. It just doesn't seem like that's who this kid is. The poise he shows out on the football field at all times, literally at all times, is absolutely amazing. I mean, he had that one pick against Texas Tech, but that was like, man, we were in desperation, and I got to try to make something. I'm falling down here. Like, so what? He's trying to make a play. The game was out of hand. It had no effect on the winning and losing whatsoever. It was a bad decision, but it was also a meaningless bad decision. It cost them nothing because it was already over. And I love the fact that he was trying to make a play because he knew I'm in dire straits here. I got to do something. Other than that, wow. I mean, the mistakes you can basically count on one hand. Now, if you talk to A-Rod and those guys, he's missed some reads and all, so there's more mistakes that don't result in a turnover. But you're going to have that.
But if you got told on August 1st that he was going to be the starting quarterback for every game and that right now he would have 4 picks through 9 games, you would have taken that every time.
Yeah, I mean, on August 1st, I knew he was going to be the starting quarterback, despite what others have told you. I didn't necessarily know how he was going to play, but I knew he was going to be the starting quarterback. Yeah.
And you would have taken 4 picks. If I told you he's only going to have 4 picks on November 17th.
I heard you the first time. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, fine. And just the command, and I go back to the word poise. He really has it. I don't necessarily think that the big story is that he's improved as the season has gone on. Because I think what he's doing now is what he was capable of doing all along. I just think that it's more noticeable now because the stakes are higher in November if you're good. The stakes for every team everywhere in college football, if you're good, are higher in November. That's the reality. And I don't necessarily think the play has improved, but the thing that, and it has improved, but that's not the bigger story to me. The bigger story is that he's stepped up to the challenge as the implications of the games have gotten bigger, if that makes sense, as opposed to, wow, he's really a lot better.
Yeah. I mean, both those things happen at the same time. You get to the bigger stages, you have more experience. But I get your point, and I mean, it goes back to what you said about, you're growing up a sports fan and you see teams you think are good enough and they get right to the finish line and they can't get across it.
Yeah.
And so here they are right at the finish line. Can they get across it? Well, they're not there yet, but given what the task was Saturday, I mean, they passed it with flying colors. And Cincinnati I think we watched the way Utah handled Cincinnati and came away with a ton of doubt about Cincinnati, not as a good team, because they're a good team, but Cincinnati at the highest level.
No, they don't appear to be. I watched virtually that entire Arizona game.
Right. They're not at the highest
level. For this very reason, knowing that BYU's playing them next week. And they couldn't get it done. And credit Arizona. Arizona got it done.
DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. The Cougars, not the only one with an impressive win over the weekend. We will get to that next. Stay with us.
Whirls around and down. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone is your exclusive home of the Utah Jazz. And we want to send you to the Delta Center to see the Jazz in action. Listen every Tuesday for the Jazz Ticket Tuesday Sounder at 30 past the hour, every hour, all day long. And if you're caller number 12, you'll be on your way to an upcoming game.
Buy one, you'll get one free.
It's Jazz Ticket Tuesday, every Tuesday throughout the NBA season on your radio home for the Utah Jazz. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The band of the day today is The Used, brought to you by Live Nation. For all the live concerts and events in 2025, check out livenation.com.
Story of my life.
Used. You want to elaborate? You just leave it there.
As another chapter
okay.
comes to an end. Will there be another one? Remains to be seen.
There's always another chapter.
You never know.
Utah. You just heard Kyle Whittingham right there. A dominant performance. It's a classic. You know what's coming, and you can't stop it. There's zero surprise what was coming in that game, and Baylor had no chance of stopping it.
I love that guy. You throw for over 400 yards, statistically you're going to lose. Yeah, he would drop dead if a team ever, for Utah, ever threw for 400 yards. Has that ever happened one time?
I don't know what the career high is in the Kyle Whittingham era, but I got to tell you, if there were a 400-yard game, it would come to mind, and it's not coming to mind.
I mean, Rising had 2, and they were both against SC.
Did he get to 400?
No, 300.
Yeah, okay.
No, not 400. I should explain that. You're right. 2 300-yard plus games. No, he just cracks me up, man. It's never going to happen under him. So don't even think about it, Ute fans. Over my dead body. And on Friday this week, he turned 66 years old.
You will throw this football when you pry it out of my cold, dead hand? Is that what you're getting at?
We're handing it off. And then we're going to hand it off, and we'll hand it off after that.
When you can run it the way they're running it, keep handing it off.
I always thought that he would say a team that's one-dimensional is easy to defend.
Yes.
So there's a little contradiction there.
There is. And
Baylor's quit.
They
want out.
The contradiction only shows when they're playing top 10, top 15 teams in the country. If you're elite, then the fact they're one-dimensional, right? Texas Tech and BYU, look where they're ranked and look where their rushing defenses
They want to
are
play
ranked.
Texas Tech again.
I know they do, yeah. And I think that's where that contradiction comes into play, being one
The
dimensional.
thing that I would say, if they got a shot, and it'd be great if they did, as long as BYU or Utah is in. I'd like to have them both in, but that's not going to happen. One or the other, I'll take it, and I don't care which one, is that the offense didn't have Bray as a weapon at that game, didn't have the Flickster, and
They've clearly added another element.
I've said a million times over, it matters when you play teams. That's not to say they're going to beat Tech. I'm not saying that. But what it does mean is they know more about their offense. And I suppose Tech can say the same thing. I get it. But we're talking about the Utes now. So that's what gives me a level of hope that they would have an opportunity to win that game, is they've got other weapons that they didn't utilize because they were freshmen and it was the fourth game of the season and we were still in September, and they played them. Who's to say that it would be different? Who's to say that it wouldn't be different? If they get that shot, the answer will speak for itself. But they will have more weapons to use if they get that shot to play Tech again. Or if they get in the playoff, man. I mean, they're going to go 10-2, and they're going to beat the snot out of these last two teams, and their metrics are just going to continue to improve, not decline.
The question is what's going to happen across the country.
Yeah.
And it does seem now the odds are much better that they could get help across the country than they're going to get help in the Big 12. I don't know that the odds are in favor for either one of them. Yes, you're right.
Not the end of the world.
No. But one team looks like it's trending poorly, and one team looks like it's trending well. But it's still any given Saturday.
But you're going on 1 week.
I'm going on 2 weeks.
No, you're not, because you can't go on 2 weeks because BYU got their butts kicked against Texas Tech, so you can't go on 2 weeks.
I was going on Cincinnati's back-to-back losses.
Right.
They're 2 weeks.
But
You're
you
right. I
said
can't go on
one
BYU's 2
team
weeks.
is training well and the other isn't. I got you to corner, admit defeat, and we'll get on to the next segment. You can't win them all.
Defeat! Can't win them all! On to the next segment. I did imply that only in my brain.
Okay, well, I can accept that because I've done that a million times. I just did it before when I said Rising. I had in my mind 300, but I didn't say
Cincinnati losing to back-to-back games.
You're right. They are on a decline. There's obviously no debate about that. And you wonder, what's their level? Now, they're still not out of it.
Well, I do wonder if Cincinnati,
but
because
they're a long shot.
Right. If Cincinnati, the storyline, if they pull this off, which I don't think they will. Have you seen the spread? I just looked at it. It's
pregame spread?
No, the point spread.
Point spread, I would
if
go.
If they put the pregame spread out this early, it's gonna be a little rank by Saturday. Hey, Yark, the roast beef's been out for 5 days. You okay with that?
I would go in the 8 or 9 range.
I know, me too. But it's BYU by 1.5.
Oh, okay.
I thought BYU, touchdown to a touchdown and a half.
Yeah,
they are on the road, and I get you had 3 points for that, but still.
And you're traveling 2 time zones. You make a big deal about that.
That is, and it has been a
Cincinnati's
factor.
Eastern time zone, are they not?
They are.
Yeah, so that's.
I do like that it's a 6 o'clock game, not the 10 a.m. game. I think that time zone stuff is felt most then. It's still felt.
It's 8 o'clock for them.
Yeah.
It's not 6.
It's 6. It's 6 o'clock here.
Right, but for BYU's going to have to sit around. It's another night game.
Yeah, they've been great in night games.
Mostly at home.
True story.
Although they won Arizona and Colorado. I wouldn't call them great, but who cares? It was good enough.
The record is great, even if within the games it got a little dicey.
Very true.
All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. John Hanson, Scotty Wednesday, noon to 3. They're at Tim Dolly Nissan Southtown at 11155 South Jordan Gateway in South Jordan. Tim Dolly, home of the Forever Warranty. Got a question up on our Facebook page. Utah beats Baylor to continue their streak of just crushing teams. Are the Utes actually going to pull this off? Which this?
Yeah.
This, I thought that was excellent. I figured there were at least 3 questions in one then. You quite the wordsmith, crafting that and weaving them all together. If the this is, are they going to finish 10-2? Well, yes, we've thought that for a while, and we still think that. That's not the this. Are they going to go to the Big 12 Conference title game? Probably not. Are they going to get to the playoff? Possibly, but I do agree with what you said earlier. Oklahoma went a long way towards punching their ticket with that road win in Alabama.
You got to acknowledge that.
Yeah, as long as they don't mess up one of these last two games, which on paper they shouldn't, then Oklahoma's going to get in. Notre Dame went a long way towards punching their ticket, beating Pitt. As long as they don't mess up one of these last two games.
Although I don't think beating Pitt is any big deal.
No, but it was the last hurdle, and they're Notre Dame, and they're going to have 10 straight wins, and they're going to get in.
I think the Utes can go back there.
And beat Pitt, too. Yeah.
Utah is a playoff-worthy team. I'm going to ask the old man that today.
Oh, yeah?
I'm going to preface it. I say, listen, dog, I know you're going to give me we're only focused on Kansas State. But put that nonsense aside for 1 second. Do you think right now, the way this team is playing, is it a playoff-worthy team? The answer in my mind is yes. Scally looking like he's blitzing 14 guys on every play. Yeah, they are. I think they are.
That'd be a cool strategy. Who would notice?
And if we're going to overlook some other teams' early season losses, why shouldn't we overlook the Utes one? It's just one. Going to Provo and losing by 3, it's akin to Tech going to Tempe when the Tempe team had its guys and you lost by 4. Whoop-de-doo. So what? Who cares? It may keep you out, but it shouldn't. I get you don't want to have an acceptable loss and all that stuff, but the game was played, and yeah, BYU, we should have done this, we should have done that, but Utah can play that game too. And the Texas Tech loss, it stinks. It's there. You can't erase it, nor should you. But as I said earlier, just a few minutes back, the Utes have more weapons. It was early in the season. You had a couple of freshmen. Now these guys are integrated into the offense. The Flickster is just an incredible player, it looks like. I don't know what kind of quarterback he's going to be. He's probably going to be a typical Utah quarterback who runs. And if they lose a game and they couldn't throw the ball, and it's the same old story. But the kid is an electric runner, that's for sure. And so they, in my mind, are playing well enough to be included. I don't know that they will, and maybe they won't. And those losses obviously would be something that would stand in the way. But if I'm going to judge teams on, Notre Dame has won 10 in a row, I sort of think that we need to look at the same parameters for everybody.
That sounds good, but now we're starting to use the word fair, and you've told us that doesn't happen, and Notre Dame's going to get the benefit of that.
I didn't say fair. I never said fair.
You avoided the word, but you implied it.
I don't like to avoid you.
If they pull this off, which also comes down to do they get help, what do you think of the odds of Oregon being a team that gets out of the way?
Who the crap is Oregon beat? Who they beat? Now you can argue who has Utah beat, for that matter.
Oregon's big win is Penn State.
And that ain't a big win. A 4-6 team.
Iowa. My stand corrected. Iowa. Iowa's
6-4.
Yep.
Oregon is just basically a hooker.
I mean, come on. Everybody is now. That's old.
Minnesota 6-4 also. Those are their wins over winning teams.
Wow, geez. Let's give Lanning some more millions.
Wisconsin, Rutgers, Penn State,
He beat
Oregon
Minnesota.
State.
Holy freak.
Yeah.
At home, no less.
Their wins are over a couple of 6-4 teams.
I seen that game Friday. So Oregon's there on rep. We got to have Oregon. Of course we have Oregon. We always have Oregon.
Utah's best win, Cincinnati and ASU. I mean, ASU didn't have the quarterback, so I guess Cincinnati then becomes the best win.
I think Cincinnati is their best win.
7-3 Cincinnati.
I think Utah's best win is the margin of victory, where they've just dominated game after game after game. They lead the league in style points with these 50, 60, 70-yard runs. Like, wow. That's what gets you. And they have a rep.
They don't have the Notre Dame rep, obviously. They'll never have the Notre Dame rep because very few do, if any. But they do have a rep, and that's not supposed to count. But you're talking with humans. You're talking about humans when they go in there.
Alabama lost to East Illinois. You think there's any chance, Alabama has Eastern Illinois left after this Oklahoma loss and Auburn. You think there's any chance they mess up?
No.
Because they're sitting on 2 losses.
And this is the week where we annually complain about the SEC playing a bunch of crappy teams.
Yep.
And Herb Street says, why not just have a bye? I mean, it's Groundhog Day all over again. We hear it every year at this time.
Yeah.
And every year it happens, although they're going to go to 9, so maybe it won't happen. Right?
Well, maybe they'll choose to use their game there, but they won't have 2 of them. Because they traditionally have a gimme in September and a bye in October and a gimme in November.
At this time of year, when there's a fever pitch for the sport, it ought to be not allowed, disallowed. No. That's what BYU and Utah should play on this week.
So Utah with 2 losses will get potentially left out here, while Oklahoma, Notre Dame, and Alabama with 2 losses will get in. That's the way it looks.
On a theory, I can see your theory, and I don't know that. But you said that's the way it looks. You're not saying I guarantee it,
right?
But you're saying that's the way it looks.
Somebody could get left out of that group, and somebody in that group could still stumble and have some hideous third loss.
Maybe so.
Doesn't seem likely.
The thing about it is, for the Utes, are they better to not go to Arlington and lose?
I don't see how they get in if they go to Arlington and lose.
Right.
With a third loss.
So do you really want to go to Arlington? Is your chance better to go 10-2 with all these dominant wins? Because they should have 2 more dominant wins. I would think the line against Kansas State's got to be about 15.
I think they're going to want to go because I think they're going to go into conference championship. No, yes, of course they're going to want to go. You're right. But I think to that point about risking the third loss, I think by the time they get there, they'll see we're on the outside looking in. So we need to win this game to get in. We need the opportunity to win it to get in. Because you can go into that weekend, if they go with the theory they went with last year about we're not penalizing SMU for losing the ACC championship game, then no one can be penalized that last week. And you're not playing, you can't be rewarded.
Utah is not SMU. Utah doesn't need some theory to get them in.
No, the team that would be SMU would be whoever is in front of Utah that is playing on the last weekend.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. I get that. And SMU, I think Utah in that theory would have a better rep than whoever SMU is this year, if it happens.
Okay, I see where you're going. You're under the assumption that they're already in, as SMU was, that they're already above the line when they get that weekend. I'm figuring, although they could get the help, they won't, so they'll be below the line going into that weekend, and they're going to have to help themselves.
And that very well could be true. In fact, I would probably lean towards that.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about if one of those other teams
if some of these other teams slip, and so Utah gets to 10 in the college football rankings, which is where they're going to have to be to get into the 12-team playoff, it looks like, with an ACC and group of 5 teams coming in from
and
lower
ultimately,
spots.
that's the only one that matters.
Yeah.
In these Tuesday night spiels is that last one in December. So see what you got there and go from that perspective. The good thing is if Utah doesn't get to Arlington and is left out, they'll never get as much run as they're going to get that Sunday. Everybody's going to cry, Utah got hosed, Utah this, Utah. Yeah. Only the SEC absolute homers. You can't keep knocking on the door for like 6-7 seasons and not get respect. And anybody who says, oh, Utah, shut the heck right up. Because what more do you want? I mean, there most of the time, you want NFL guys? We got NFL guys.
Yep.
You want Pro Bowlers? We got Pro Bowlers. Whatever you use to measure your greatness, we, speaking from the Utah perspective, we got it over here too. The only thing they didn't have is they didn't have a backup quarterback. And if you could find a way to get a winning record in conference with a backup quarterback, then you are freaking awesome.
That's for you Arizona State fans out there. You just picked up the.
We don't need no freaking excuses. Our quarterback was hurt.
Picked up the pitchfork and
we still win. I'm telling you right now.
Okay. Except in Utah.
They don't win them all.
Oh, okay.
They didn't win them all last year.
Nice. Good recovery.
But we don't have a season of whining. Look at the injuries. Devils sent 6 guys to Tempe, or not to Tempe, to Dallas for the Big 12 media. 4 of them have season-ending injuries.
That's bad, right?
That sucks. But that's the only mark on Utah is last year they couldn't get it done because of the injuries. But injuries happen, and obviously they had it at the most crucial position. But that's on them. You got to find a way to have a backup ready to go. And the Devils got lucky in terms of Sims being a 6-year guy wanting to stay around.
Well, they didn't have to play 5 different quarterbacks. The year they played 5 different quarterbacks, it didn't go well.
But that just means you don't have a backup. They didn't have a starter.
No, but the other guys get hurt. I thought, didn't the other guys get hurt when they went deep? I mean, Utah had other guys get hurt.
Quarterback? You're talking 2 years ago?
For ASU, yes.
They didn't have a quarterback.
Oh, they literally didn't have. That's when they go to
whoever they had. They didn't have anybody.
Yeah, and then it ends up being Scatterbo at the end.
They didn't have.
They ran out of bodies at the position.
They started with out of bodies. they weren't good enough at the start. Yeah. That Rashada kid, where is he now? Where is he? Sacramento State?
Sacramento State.
Does he play? He's another one of those Utah, California kids that are supposed to be 4 stars, and they bounce around to 15 different schools and never do a darn thing.
If I'm not mistaken, he started all year, but Sacramento State's like middling to bottom tier, big sky.
Yeah, and he's on his 3rd school, and he's like a sophomore. I mean, the point was they didn't have anybody, which is what Utah didn't have behind Cam last year.
Even though they had the injuries, yeah. It's not like they were getting stellar play from the guys when they were in.
Right, so...
Although they did then get hurt and they went to somebody else and there wasn't stellar play then, and before they could get them up to speed, they got hurt.
That's last year. Who cares? I'm just having fun. They are right where they have been for so many years.
7-3, and they ought to win 1, maybe 2 more games. We'll see.
That Arizona game looks
a
tough.
lot. It looks hard. It does. It looks tough.
But I mean, if they went 8-4, so be it. I mean, you don't turn where that program has been. You don't turn back 8-4. As far as I'm concerned, given the fact that your quarterback was out and your star receiver, he tore, not pulled or tweaked, he tore his hamstring.
Yikes.
They said on Saturday he celebrated a touchdown, and the trainers, and he's not in uniform, the trainers had to attend to him. Yeah.
Because he was pumped up. Somebody else scored.
Right. Yeah. He needs to get himself healthy. In fact, he needs to say, guys, thanks a lot, but I got other stuff here.
Yeah.
He shouldn't play, as far as I'm concerned.
No.
No.
Well, torn hamstring, I don't think he's going to.
He should be done.
Yeah.
He's got millions down the line that he needs to get ready for.
First-round NFL draft pick.
Right. So if he came out and said, I'm done, I would say bravo. That is 100% the right decision when you got a torn hamstring and you're down to the end here and you're probably going to go to one of these, middling bowl games. No, but he shouldn't even play against the Cats. If I'm Dillingham, I said, no, you're done. But the Utes, they've got a great rep because it's all been earned. And if the silver lining is if you don't get into the playoff, you'll be talked about probably more than ever.
DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Bronco Mendenhall joins us next. More on the playoff possibilities with Shehan, Jeyarajah coming up at 9 o'clock right here on the Zone. Join Hans and Scotty live tomorrow from noon to 3. They're going to be at the Grill, 2264 South Main Street in Nephi. Utah State football coach Bronco Mendenhall will join us here momentarily. Shehan Jeyarajah will join us from CBS Sports, national college football writer, at the top of the hour to talk about the weekend that was in college football and how he thinks things are going to shape up for the Utes and Cougars when the rankings are revealed tomorrow night. Figure to move up 1 spot, although Texas has Texas A&M left, PK. Is there a chance for them to pull a massive upset and then at 9-3 leapfrog back into playoffs? be the first 3-loss team to get into the college football playoff?
Would not be shocking. But they really weren't that competitive on Saturday.
It's one of those games where the score says they can still win it, but you don't actually think they're going to. And then in the fourth quarter, they got lit up. It looked a lot like the Utah-Texas Tech game. Totally. Very, very similar. DJ, PK, and we're joined now by Bronco Mendenhall, Utah State football coach. Bronco, good morning.
Good morning.
I know after 24 hours you're supposed to shake it off and move on to the next game, but Bronco, I think that one would be a little harder to shake off than most games.
Oh, I'm not sure it's shake-offable. That one's going to last a long time, and it needs to. Doesn't mean that as a grown-up and young people, we don't need to be resilient and move on to the next one, and life demands that. But there's also, sometimes there's just experiences in your life that they don't go away. And for the team, for the players, for the program, really, really believed we were not only going to win, but win it multiple times. And that was difficult.
You remember years ago you said you go into games, you prepare, you study, you do all this stuff, and then you get there and the game turns out nothing like you anticipate. And I remember you said that, and that stuck with me all these years. And so the fact that you lost obviously does sting. But the thing that in Vegas, of all places where you bet, there's no way I would have bet that your defense held them down to the level that it did. I mean, if you would have won the game, I would have thought it would be high scoring, and yet really it wasn't, especially considering that, at the end there, those points came in overtime. But that was just shocking to me, the way the game played out.
The preparation of our defense and the momentum they're generating has been remarkable. And 23 points in regulation, 29 total is the fewest they've had. That's with 2 overtimes, the fewest points they've scored the entire year against anyone. And to your point, I'm never sure how the game is going to play out once we kick it off. We had planned and prepared for a game just like that. We didn't know what the score was going to be, but we knew it was going to come down to someone kicking it at the end or trying to get a 4th down stop or something. Never imagined we'd have a short field goal with 2 seconds left in control, and then it's overtime, and they miss the field goal, and we don't put it through again. The defense just over and over and over again in that game answered the call and held them to field goals or 4th down stops or turnovers, and just super proud of them. And the entire organization went ready to win the game, viewing it as a title fight, and really knew that winning that game kept us in the Mountain West Conference championship race, and the kids really believed that was possible.
You're famous for saying there's 4 or 5 plays that turn a game, but I feel like this is a game where there were 10 or 12, and you might tell me, I've watched the film and there were 20 or 30, and I'd probably believe you if you said that because there were so many crazy things that happened. There was a moment early in the game, and obviously if this had happened, everything would have unfolded differently afterwards. But you get the touchdown, and there's a penalty on them, and it moves at half the distance to the goal, and immediately, I forget who it was, but the analyst on the TV broadcast is like, oh, this is a chance to go for 2. When you get that penalty, you got to think about that. Did you think about it? How close did you come to doing it? Because obviously you kicked the 1.
No, just split second, but I didn't think it was really relevant at that point. And a single point would matter. We missed an extra point early in the game. And again, as everyone's already been well documented, we were 10 for 10 of field goals with no mixed extra points the entire year. And it's been really a strength of our team. And I just believed we'd play well enough and we would get the point back at some point. And I just didn't feel like that was the time.
I was wondering about the play calling, particularly after UNLV didn't score in the first overtime, because I was unsure of what was going on with the confidence of the kicker. Could you speak to that?
Yeah. We relatively conservative, as you saw, and just believed we were already in range. And the history of the season, even though it wasn't going well that game, it just I couldn't make myself believe we weren't going to put that one through, and that the average would back out to how we truly are capable and how we would truly kick. And so, more conservative than probably anyone would have liked. Really, just believed he would make the kick.
The conservative didn't surprise me, but I guess what surprised me was that the running plays weren't for Bryson Barnes, because it gives you an extra blocker, obviously, and obviously he just had the long TD run. He actually had a couple good runs before the long TD run, so I thought maybe you gave him a break there, that they didn't have to stop the thing they didn't seem capable of stopping.
Yeah, I think it's a point well taken. The number of shots and his physical status at that time, he was basically carrying the load by himself, and he just, man, I'm sure Coach McGiven and Matt Johns, our quarterback coach, were looking, as I was, just how much more can he do, and so there was a fine line in there that I'm sure weighed into that.
If I told you that you could get Bryson Barnes back for another year, but you had to give up at least 1 or 2 years of your life, would you still say yes?
Well, that's an easy trade. I'm taking him every time because the quality, right? The quality of those years, that's going up.
There you go.
I'm going quality over quantity.
I got to admit, when he started in on it, I thought he was going to go with Ronnie Lott's Pinky story again.
No, I'm talking
I know.
right to the end there, the big life. Yeah, I mean, the kid is just amazing. You got to love the way he plays.
The number, he was sacked 7 times in that game, and the number of hits even after he's delivering it, and then he has a quarterback draw for about 70, and then he scrambles at the end and puts us in field goal range. It just, I shared with him over the weekend that I'm not sure I've ever seen a player at that position play as courageously, as resilient and determined week after week after week. It's a privilege to be his coach.
He has been your leading rusher, I think, in 4 games this year, and hasn't missed a game, which in this era, we're seeing quarterbacks get hurt all the time. And we actually have a former Aggie quarterback, Riley Jensen, who comes on the air, and he says it depends on which coach you talk to, but most coaches are trying to figure, they let a guy, they'll 6 or 8 design runs, and then they figure 6 or 8 times the kid's going to take off or take a big hit in the pocket, and that's all the hits they want. And to your point, Barnes had 22 carries in the official stats.
Yeah, 22 carries, and that's not including
getting hit after he throws, or as he throws.
Getting hit after or as he throws, and if you could just watch the number of those hits throughout the course of the season, I don't see guys getting up from those as we're watching opponents or other college football games. And the daily example of just fierce toughness and getting off the mat over and over again is just, it's remarkable. And for more than anyone, I would love this season. I'd love to go on the road in Fresno and play well and win. I'd love to have Boise come in for our last game and play well and win. Love for him to get a chance in postseason to play well and win, just because of everything that he's done for this program and who he is.
Well, to me, that would be an easy way, not easy, but at least a reasonable way to put this game behind you, because bowl eligibility is on the line, and you just spoke to it right there. So I would think the team would be able to gather itself and get the focus necessary to play Fresno State.
Oh, I think they will, and young people are resilient. But I also know in my team meeting this morning, right, they're hurting because of what they put in, and we basically had won the game twice, and that was the shocking part to everyone, is walking off knowing that in almost every phase we had played well enough, and their preparation held, and it was a significant kind of moment for this team and the program, and then we didn't win, and so it stung. And the team was quiet and they're somber. They'll be resilient and focused, and they will respond. But I also have to be realistic in letting that process play out. And I was asked after the game, I don't know, what that looks like. And there's a pretty typical world or typical model in the world of social science, right, that usually starts with anger or sadness, and then denial, like, man, that didn't happen, or that couldn't have happened, right? And then a withdrawal where you need just a minute to kind of get it together. And then there's acceptance where you reframe it and then you go. And I think what sports teaches so much is because we play next week, right? We're into the next opponent today. you're not really allowed a lot of time to work through that process. And so you learn to expedite that. My wife gets furious with me because I'm a fast mover on her, but I've been trained to do that, because so many rely on me to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And so we're passing that on to young people, but also, they have till tonight, right, when we actually practice or start moving through what our opponent does. And they're still working through that process, and we all have to go through it. And then there's kind of a look in their eye or a way they carry themselves where you can see, okay, we're ready. They don't get more time than today, and if they take more time, it gets in the way of the next one. And so, but I am going to acknowledge that it hurt, still does, probably always will, but we got to move on, and that's how life works.
Fresno State 7-3. It's going to be their senior day. They've got 2 conference losses, so they're still thinking that there's a path for them to the conference title game. You ought to be facing a fully motivated team in Fresno.
There's no question, and what better way to finish? So they're averaging probably 38ish, maybe close to 40,000. The stadium there's a great following there. They're having success. But that's a different style of play, completely different than what we just faced and in other games we played within the conference. But the parity, they are the same as the other teams. They're winning, but it's a very similar record to Hawaii, to New Mexico, to UNLV, to insert whatever Mountain West team you want. And that's what the top is going to look like. And we know we're capable. We just demonstrated that again. And here's the next test.
You have the scariest of scary when we see that situation with Saxton going down, and then everybody just turns so silent. And even it takes your breath away, literally, even if you're watching at home, as I was. I'm wondering if you have an update.
Yeah. All cognitive function has returned. So he's walking, he's moving, he's coherent. Concussion symptoms still remain. Obviously, they're doing extensive work and review of just his neck, etc. But I have to say that during that game, when my team walks out and basically singing, right, Tongan hymns and United while he's laying there, was one of the most impactful moments I think I've had in my life. As they were kind of just sharing their support through song, through culture, through love, and through being good teammates. Truly remarkable. And I looked over and saw the UNLV players, and they saw what an amazing thing that was. And you could just see them like feeling, man, this is an amazing moment that we're part of. And crazy because we still had to play some more game after that, but I love this team. These kids they're amazing.
Well, Bronco, we appreciate a few minutes. Thanks for joining us, and good luck turning all the emotions around and going to Fresno.
Thanks so much. We'll see you.
Okay. There is Bronco Mendenhall. They will be facing a Fresno team that has won with a backup quarterback throwing for less than 100 yards the last couple of weeks, but blew out Boise State and blew out Wyoming. The defense has been lights out for them.
It's going to be tough. I mean, that's a tough place to play. I've been up there. I've been up there and covered a BYU loss.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we've all been in that community, and there's not a whole lot going on there sports-wise outside of the Bulldogs, and they're having a decent season, so that community really rallies around. That's why I was desperately hoping that they got that Vegas win. And it was right there, as he said. They had that thing, and it's like, oh, my gosh, I can't believe this is happening.
Slipped through their fingers a couple of times.
Yep.
Fresno's 4-1 at home this year, so they've been really good. All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We got to take a break. Shehan Jeyarajah is joining us coming up at the top of the hour, and we will talk playoff rankings and Big 12 football with him. Stay with us.
It's game week for the Utes, and the KSL Sports Zone is getting you ready for kickoff. After a blowout victory on the road against Baylor, Kyle Whittingham and the Utes return to the Hill for a showdown against Kansas State in the final home game of the season. Listen all week long for the best coverage of Utah football. Then, catch College Football Saturday game day at 10 a.m. with the postgame show immediately following the game on KSLSports.com.
Let's go then. Let's go, baby.
Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is live on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. And now, your Rocky Mountain Chevy dealer strong play of the weekend.
Ficklin in at quarterback. Ficklin with the fake, he will run it. Picks up a block on the right side. Ficklin, the hezzy, shoves the defender out of the way. Ficklin still motoring. Come on now, the kid's a star.
There's your Chevy Strong play of the game. Know it this afternoon after 3 o'clock. JJ and Alex will call for it, and you can win fabulous prizes.
Hey, did he say his best friend is dead? That's just great. I wish I had a best friend.
Come on, man. Yeah, all the romance has gone out of the game because it's all about money. And so now you got a bromance right there, and you're mocking it.
I'm not mocking it.
Okay,
I think
it
it's
sounds
cute.
like it.
No, I'm mocking it if you're 50 and you tell me you've got a bestie.
Oh, okay.
That's ridiculous.
But in college, you still get to have a best
friend. At their age?
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Have a best friend at that age. Now, when you get a little older, I can remember one time you told Joe Ingles your wife had a best friend. Like, well, they go to the food court at 16 and talk about boys at 55?
No, that was the friend who's in Australia. So
I know, but you can't have a best friend at 55.
They have not gone.
You can have close friends, but no, I don't. At 20, or he might even be a teen, have a best friend. That's cute. I love besties. But eventually, you got to grow up.
Got the picks from this weekend, big guy?
I do.
I did mean to take the Thursday night game. I whiffed on that. I got lucky.
You still got away with it, though.
I did. I got away with it. That's exactly what I did. I got away with it.
Well, add it to the list with you.
Yeah, right? good, clean living.
Houston Texans beating the Tennessee Titans.
You've been fooling people for a long time.
16-13. There you go. PK, you took the Pittsburgh Steelers. Might have been the good time to do it, considering, a certain quarterback may be down for a while.
A-Rod?
Yeah.
That's his non-throwing arm. I know they might be a break, though.
Tell that to Jalen Daniels.
I was going to say.
Or Jaden
Daniels, yeah.
Jalen coaches or quarterbacks for Kansas.
And I took the Baltimore Ravens, and they tried to muck that up, too. So they got away with it as well. So we clean sweep across the weekend.
All right. Three more.
Not all right. I'm not gaining any ground.
Still got
okay, but it's going to get more difficult at the end of the year as
Yeah.
our options narrow.
Yeah, but I have held off on picking.
We are going to have to send us a list. I'm getting to a point I can't remember all the teams.
I'll
I picked
update your
now.
list. I sent you before.
We're like 11.
He's like the jockey, the far turn, and he's still sitting up. He's got a lot of whip left. He hasn't even begun to hit the stride.
I got a 2-game lead right now still.
Yeah. Well, I hope you lose it.
You're the Broncos in the AFC West. Yeah, there you go.
Surprise teams. Broncos, Patriots atop the AFC. How about that?
Patriots are a surprise team, not the Broncos. The Broncos
How
were
are the
in
Broncos
playoffs.
not a surprise team?
How are the Broncos not a surprise team? How dare you say that?
They were in the playoffs last year.
They were in the playoffs last year, Yock. What are you talking about? How can you be surprised? They were in the playoffs last year.
I think the Patriots are a bigger surprise. You can go there as a surprise team, but New England's a bigger surprise.
Right, a bigger.
They came out of nowhere.
Well, he's saying biggest. He's not going bigger. He's saying biggest.
What about Seattle?
What about they were in the playoff almost last year? They won double-digit games. How are they a surprise? What are you thinking?
Sam Darnold just threw 4 picks.
And Sammy D threw 4 picks.
He did.
And I can never root for the Seahawks.
He just can't. It's against his very DNA.
It's awesome that you're a Mariners fan, but you loathe the Seahawks.
That don't make no sense.
It really doesn't.
Sports free agency, man.
Yeah. I mean, when you're from Utah, you gotta pick and choose. For me, I'd pick a winner every time. Then you never lose.
So Yankees, Lakers.
Yeah, just go Duke.
Duke, yes. Or North Carolina, one or the other. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. We had a guy, when I worked at Daily Breeze, hardcore Duke basketball fan. Like, get out of my face. I mean, you grew up in San Dimas, you're working in Torrance, and you're a hardcore Duke basketball fan. Right when they were winning all those titles.
Yeah.
No connection whatsoever.
I love a winner. How many people did you know in L.A. who rooted for USC football and UCLA basketball under the same principle?
None, because I eliminated them from my life.
Okay, that's good.
I don't tolerate it. I'm in through thick and thin. Hardcore. I bleed maroon and gold.
When we come back, Shehan Jeyarajah joins us, CBS Sports national college football writer. We'll talk about the weekend with him and see if he thinks Cincinnati's got a chance. Puncher's chance? We'll talk with him next. Stay with us. Another weekend of college football in the books, PK. Got a question up on our Facebook page. Utah beats Baylor to continue a streak of crushing teams. The Utes actually going to pull it off. Patrick, I love my Utes, but no.
I would love to see them get a chance.
Cameron, they need a lot of upsets to happen.
One big one.
Cincinnati?
Yeah.
Have you figured it out? Would they win? Would they win the tiebreaker? Would that get them in?
It depends then.
It gives them a chance to climb in the college football playoff rankings, for sure. That should get them a spot.
It depends on, is it a two-way tie or of three or more?
Yeah. It looks like it's going to be more, right? We are joined now by Shehan Jeyarajah, CBS Sports national college football writer. Shehan, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Did you expect more upsets this weekend? This was pretty much by the book, except that Oklahoma went in and beat Alabama, and that isn't really what BYU and Utah wanted. Everybody who's 11 through 15 is like, Alabama, come through for us, and they didn't.
I know, right? Like that was probably the one that I least expected, just because, I mean, Oklahoma's really struggled on offense this year. But I guess when you start with the ball three times in opposing territory, like, you just make things happen. I mean, I'll tell you what, there might not be a more valuable player in the SEC this year than Oklahoma's kicker, Tate Sandell. He has been absolute money in some of these games. I mean, he basically single-handedly won them that Tennessee game too. I mean, we're doing our second All-America call next week. I think we're going to have a long conversation about him.
What does it do to Alabama?
Yeah, I think that when you look at Alabama, I mean, they have enough quality wins that I don't think this is going to put them in danger as yet. Now, again, you know, they come into the week at number 4. This is their second loss, but again, they have Vanderbilt. They have, of course, the Georgia win. They have Tennessee. You know, they have Missouri, even though Missouri's kind of fallen off. Like, I think it's going to be enough that they still probably stay in that 8-9 range, and they're still only a 2-loss SEC team. I think that a 10-2 SEC team is generally going to be in very good shape, but it does mean that the road trip to Jordan-Hare Stadium is to play Auburn. That is going to be absolutely the kind of game that could knock them out of the playoff if they lose.
Yeah, 2-loss SEC team is generally going to be in shape. I think you said that to give yourself an out if I brought up Vanderbilt, because they're sitting there at 2 losses, and they're thinking, what have we got to do to leapfrog Utah and BYU and Oklahoma and get in ourselves?
Yeah, well, listen, there's individual moments where sort of the brand works against you too, even if you're an SEC team. But I think the big issue with Vanderbilt is, like, they just don't have any wins that matter. Because, again, Missouri's fallen off. LSU has collapsed. South Carolina looks like it might be a good win. It's nothing now. And, you know, so they're going to play Tennessee, and that's going to mean something, but I don't know that it's going to mean enough, especially when, again, you have a BYU team that's beaten number 13 Utah, when you have a Utah team that analytically is right now, I mean, rated as one of the top 6 or 7 teams in college football. So I think that they're in rough shape, and it's just kind of the way that the schedule laid out for them. And some of the, again, if Missouri is still number 18 in the country or something, I think that this changes the way that we're looking at this Vandy team, but they're not.
If SC beats Oregon, which is obviously a tall task, does that mean 4 in for the Big Ten?
I don't necessarily think so, because I think that USC still has a lot of work and a lot of space to make up. I mean, this is a team that still lost to Illinois earlier this year. They got beat by double digits by Notre Dame. Obviously, an Oregon win would be obviously really important, especially after beating Iowa last week and handling Michigan earlier this year. But, I mean, so let's just say, right, if Oregon loses, I think that they are out just because, again, their schedule hasn't necessarily shaped up the way that they may have liked. So let's just say that happens. I think they're out. I think that BYU would still be higher priority than USC, and BYU, by the way, probably needs some help right now to kind of get that last spot in after Oklahoma's win. And so, again, I think that as a one-loss team with a top 15 victory, I think that they would still be ahead of USC at that point. Now, I think that USC then gets into a conversation with Utah. Utah, again, rates analytically a bit higher. USC would have 3 top, 25 victories at that point. I think that USC might move ahead of Utah, but I don't think that they would move ahead of BYU at this point.
These are a lot of 2-loss teams we're talking about here, and 2 losses used to get you knocked out of the 14 playoff under the theory. Well, and I know there are a couple exceptions, and LSU won it all in the BCS era. But it's like, well, if you lost twice, you're not going to be the national champ. If they expand the playoffs to 16, the teams then that are getting in are the teams we're just talking about. All of a sudden, BYU and Vanderbilt and Utah would all be sitting in. But they'd be matched up with Ohio State, Indiana, and Texas A&M. Are those games anybody would want to watch, or as they think about expanding this, do they think those games will be blowouts? What are we doing here? We ought to stay at 12. Or the lure of, even if it's a bad game, we're going to get paid for it because people will watch it, so what the heck?
Well, I'll tell you what. I think that last year, of course, we kind of had this run of kind of dominant teams in the 5 through 8 spot in the playoff. But I kind of don't think that that's going to be the case going forward, or maybe even this year. Like, is Texas A&M going to be able to totally put the hammer down on a very good team? Like, maybe, maybe not. I think that some of these games, like, again, if you put, let's say, Texas A&M against Utah or something like that. Well, I really like what Utah does defensively. I think that they might be able to cause some problems for Texas A&M's offense, and I think that their rushing offense is something unlike what they've seen. I think the same for an Indiana or something like that. Like, so I think that people are a little skewed because they saw one playoff, and that a lot of aspects of that one playoff didn't go very well. I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case this year even, right? Because I mean, again, Vanderbilt's played teams that are going to be in the playoffs, including Alabama, and they hung around. They were very competitive in those games. So I think that again, we're moving to a point, and I'll by the way throw Ohio State as an exception. I think that Ohio State might just beat everybody by a lot, just like they did last year. But I do think that the gap between the top 5 and the top 15 is probably shrinking to a place that's smaller than it's been in a very long time.
The media keeps asking Kalani Sitake about the so-called style points, and he just keeps blowing it off every time. Winning is the style points. That's all I'm concerned about. Is that an outdated philosophy? Because you look at Utah and the metrics and the analytics, love them, and part of the reason is because they keep beating the snot out of everybody.
Yes, I do think it's outdated to a large extent. Now, again, like, he's a head coach, and the thing that he's primarily worried about is winning the football game by 1 point. But I think that what you have to look at if you're Kalani Sitake is that, one, I mean, the committee, and two, of course, public perception and even AP voters and all this sort of stuff, like, they do evaluate these advanced metrics. And they do, again, even if you want to talk about Vegas lines and all this sort of stuff. And a lot of that modeling is done by, sort of these power ratings. And it's done by how you handle business. The game that I keep going back to is the BYU West Virginia game. I mean, BYU was beating the absolute crap out of West Virginia. And then they kind of just, stopped playing. So nominally, it was only a 14-point win against West Virginia. And it's like, dude, they could have beat that team by 40 points. They could have been dominant every single play, every single drive, and destroyed them. But they just didn't. And I'm not saying that you have to, be running, verts while up 40 in the fourth quarter by any means. But I think that there's something to be said for being able to truly put a game away. I mean, now I'll give them credit. Against TCU this past week, they did it. That's the effort that I want to see for 4 quarters from BYU every single week. Because I'll also say, let's look back at the 2024 season as well. I mean, they kind of lost 2 games because they let teams hang around just a little bit too long. Now, 2 good teams, but still, if you put some of these games away earlier and you truly drop the hammer, and by the way, I think you have an offense that has shown the ability to do that. I think that it just puts you in a much better perception, both from an analytic perspective, which, I understand that coaches might not love that, but it's part of the equation. And I think also from a public perception perspective.
Looking at the slate of games coming up this weekend, at number 1, Ohio State's playing Rutgers. Number 2, Indiana's on a bye. Number 3, Texas A&M's playing Samford. Georgia's number 5. They're playing Charlotte. Eastern Illinois is at number 4, Alabama. Texas Tech is on a bye. At some point, for all the alleged control the TV networks have, and maybe the SEC going to 9 games will help this to a degree, but it seems pretty late in the season to have such a weak schedule.
Well, down here in in SEC country, we call it SoCon Saturday, right? Because everybody in the SEC just picks up an FCS game and plays it later in the year instead of earlier. And by the way, I'll actually primarily be out this weekend because my friend's getting married, and I was like, you know what? If you're going to do a fall wedding, it's a pretty good time for you to do it. But it's interesting, right? I mean, like you said, Oregon USC is kind of the only good game on the schedule. I mean, BYU Cincinnati is not a bad game. There's some games that aren't bad, but there's really not very many marquee matchups. And actually, this is one thing that's interesting. When you talk about the Big 12 has kind of avoided putting their huge games on, or their huge rivalry games on rivalry weekends. And this is one of the reasons that I actually get it, because I think that there is something to the idea of hey, you know what, people get so distracted. And I think that last week of the season gets so overstuffed with big time games. I think that if you spread things out, it can actually put you in a decent position. I would love for a big game to be this weekend in the Big 12. I mean, not that it has to be BYU Utah or something, but I think that I don't know. I mean, even if you want to put Baylor TCU on a weekend like this, if you want to put Iowa State Kansas State on a weekend like this, I think that, again, you have to kind of look for ebbs and flows in the calendar to a large extent, and this is definitely one of those ebbs.
You just mentioned Baylor there. That seems like a crazy situation with the athletic director being the chair of the committee, and now he's off, and he's on leave or whatever it might be, and Aranda, it seems like he's fighting for his job. What do you think's happening there?
Nothing good, I can promise you that. But, so it's an interesting situation. So, of course, the athletic director, Mac Rhodes, is technically on personal leave. I've been told essentially that's a formality, that they're looking and kind of getting their ducks in a row to most likely try to fire him for cause or do a settlement. I don't expect him back as the athletic director at Baylor. And I think that this creates a really, really complicated situation for the university, because here's the reality, right? So the timeline that they've given for investigation all to be done is 28 days. Well, that puts you in the middle of December, after the coaching carousel is well underway. This was always going to be a busy carousel. Now, I feel like if Baylor comes into the market with everybody else, I think they'd be in decent shape. If you're coming to the market behind everybody else, I think that changes the calculus quite a bit. And so it turns into a situation of, okay, well, have you forced yourself into a position where you almost can't fire your head coach? Now, I mean, they played Utah last week, of course, and they got absolutely decimated. And by the way, I thought that, one, Utah I don't think even played that well, and two, I thought that Baylor actually did some things that weren't bad, and it was still a 27-point loss at home on Senior Day. And then they this wasn't Senior Day, Houston Senior Day, but then they go on the road to play Arizona, who, by the way, looks really good too. Then you close with Houston at home. That's a game against an in-state team, against a second-year coaching staff that is a team that is better than you. So if they lose out and they miss a bowl game, I just don't think you can bring him back. And I know that you have to go through your athletic director process, but you're just going to have to find a way to do that in as quick a fashion as possible, because I just look at what's happening right now with that football team. For a team that was projected to maybe contend for the Big 12, I mean, it's pathetic what they're doing up there.
There are plenty of coaches forced to go out and say things. Kiffin, I love Ole Miss, and Dillingham reaffirms commitment to Arizona State. Do you buy all that? Should these guys be put in this position? Does it matter what should happen? Welcome to college football and big business. It is what it is. Are you buying these guys when they say they're at least hinting or implying they're staying put?
Well, this is we have done a sort of a segment on one of our old podcasts that we call Coach Speak Translator, and this is one of those moments where you got to translate Coach Speak, right? For Lane Kiffin, it's, we're very happy here, we love it here, right? Well, what he didn't say is, I am staying here. Whereas with when you look at specifically, let's say, Kenny Dillingham at Arizona State and Brent Key at Georgia Tech, they are much more specific about what they want and why they like it here. So, for example, Kenny Dillingham's like, dude, I grew up here. I went to school here. My sister's my neighbor. My parents live 3 houses down. Like, why would I ever want to leave? I want to push this place to be the best that it can be. For Brent Key, he says, cut me open and see what colors I bleed. I'm Georgia Tech through and through. Like, that's different than saying we're very happy here and we love it here. Those are different statements. So, again, it's little nuances, certainly. And look, I mean, there have been many cases of coaches, claiming that they're going to be brought out from here in a pine box and then leaving the very next week for another job. But I think that when you look at the specificity and fervency of Kenny Dillingham and Brent Key compared to Lane Kiffin, I think that says a lot about it. And by the way, one other thing I'll say too is that I think that, something that's discussed but maybe not understood enough is like some of the way that these processes are handled too depends a lot on your agent as well. And I mean, for example, let's say hypothetically that Lane Kiffin does not want to go anywhere and plans to stay at Ole Miss long term. Well, his agency is very much one who is willing to use leverage in a way that some agents don't to the same extent. And even if he wants to stay there, I could see them dragging this out to the end of the year so that they get the absolute most possible from Ole Miss. So again, you always have to kind of weigh all the dynamics at play, but I would be shocked if Kenny Dillingham or Brent Key left their jobs. I would not be shocked based on what he said if Lane Kiffin did.
As an ASU grad, if Dillingham leaves, I would lose all faith in humanity for the rest of my life.
I think that's a good way to think about it. I really think, because again, here's the thing too, and this is a big picture dynamic about college athletics in this moment that I actually think is fascinating, which is no matter where you are, if you are at, let's call it a middle class to upper middle class power conference program, like grass isn't necessarily greener on other places. Like there are places that, if Kenny Dillingham left Arizona State, I think he's making 7 right now. Like maybe he could get to 9, but then it's a situation of like, okay, well, you're also just realistically probably going to be looking for a job in 3 or 4 years just because of the way of the world. Yeah. Whereas at Arizona State, you're going to, if he wants to stay there 10 years, I think he's going to have that ability just because of the support that he's got. And the other thing too is that with rev share and all this sort of stuff, like you can actually build something really competitive and have a very legitimate path to the college football playoff, to contending for titles. Now there are certain programs where, again, LSU is one of them for me, where it's like, okay, well, yeah, like at that job, not only could you have a championship roster, you will. It's essentially guaranteed because it's LSU with the way that they have ties to the state of Louisiana. But again, it's we'll kind of see what happens. But this is the thing for me with Lane Kiffin with Florida is Florida is a better job than Ole Miss. There's zero doubt about it. Is it in the LSU tier of you're guaranteed to have championship level talent? This is a program that hasn't won an SEC championship since 2008, right? Like this is not necessarily one of the guaranteed jobs. And so I do think that becomes an interesting situation. If you're Kenny Dillingham and you're in a fantastic position at Arizona State, or you made the playoff and you were very close to winning a playoff game and you're only getting started, is it necessarily a huge step up to like go to Florida and, you know, be at a place where you don't necessarily know that you can accomplish more than that?
We're not gamblers. We don't pretend to be good at this stuff, but we were both surprised that BYU was a 1.5-point favorite at Cincinnati. I thought 7-10. PK was guessing 8-9. We're kind of in the same ballpark there. Cincinnati's lost back-to-back games, just beaten by Arizona after getting blown out at Utah. Do you think they can plant their feet, take a stand, that kind of stuff, and salvage things and beat BYU, or is this Cougars again and BYU gets to 10-1?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad we're kind of circling back to what we talked about at the start of this, which is I think that BYU is undervalued because of the way that they play and their style of play and the fact that they don't just put games away. Well, I think that going on the road to play a very good Cincinnati team, I think that BYU is going to come out and pummel them. I think that they understand the magnitude of this moment. I loved that against a not bad TCU defense, like they were like, Bear Bachmeier, go and do your thing. We got to free you, because the reality is we're probably going to play Texas Tech again in the Big 12 title game, and you need to be ready for that moment. I think that they're going to really attack that secondary. I think that they're going to physically beat up Cincinnati. Cincinnati's really good in the trench, especially on the offensive line, but I think that BYU's front will be able to cause a lot of issues for them. So, no, I think, like you said, it should be more like a 7-point line. And on top of that, I would take them to easily cover as well. I think it's going to be a 2-score game.
Sean, we appreciate it as always. Great to talk to you, and we will talk to you again next week.
Thank you so much for having me.
Sean Jeyarajah, join us right here, CBS Sports National College Football writer. And while BYU goes to Cincinnati, Utah will be hosting Kansas State. K-State gives up 150 yards a game on the ground, PK. Gosh, what do you think will happen?
They'll just stuff Utah at the line of scrimmage, a la Texas Tech.
No, you don't. Utah for 300-plus again. That's what's going to happen.
There goes Fick.
There he goes.
Fick's the pick, and he's sick.
Now we know what makes you tick.
Right.
When we come back, everything you missed in this show next. Stay with us.
Whirls around and down. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone is your exclusive home of the Utah Jazz. And we want to send you to the Delta Center to see the Jazz in action. Listen every Tuesday for the Jazz Ticket Tuesday Sounder at 30 past the hour, every hour, all day long. And if you're caller number 12, you'll be on your way to an upcoming game.
Buy one, you'll get one free.
It's Jazz Ticket Tuesday, every Tuesday throughout the NBA season on your radio home for the Utah Jazz. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Slacker Radio Headlines brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan Wealth today, your local trusted financial fiduciary. Call them at 801-210-6800 or visit their website at TrajanWealth.com. BYU wins big. Utah wins big. Utah State lets it slip through their fingers at the end of regulation. And again, in the first overtime session, we had Bronco on this morning. And as he pointed out, that one's going to leave a mark.
That was devastating.
It really was.
My goodness gracious, man. And don't take your foot off the gas. I don't care that he'd made 10 in a row. He was struggling.
He was. Missed one early, then he missed an extra point. Then he missed another one at the end of regulation.
I'm watching the game, obviously. I go right back to Faldo. You hit one bad shot, you lose your confidence.
Yeah.
He just said that to us, or to me, and we played it on the air, 3 weeks ago?
Yep.
2 weeks ago? Whatever it was. Here's a guy at that level talking about players losing their confidence on hitting a couple of bad shots. Well, how could you not if you're a kicker?
And when Nick Faldo said that, I didn't have the impression he was talking about the 81st best guy on tour, which is the 81st best guy in the world, which is amazing. He's talking about himself and his friends, many of whom also won major championships.
Yeah.
He's talking about the most accomplished golfers this side of Tiger Woods.
I thought they should have. Don't go crazy.
I thought they were going to run Barnes again. And I know they were running him, but when you're trying to win the game.
Well, it didn't seem like they were trying to advance the ball.
No, I get it. But, like, you can be conservative because you want to risk the turnover. I get that. And run Barnes, and those plays have been devastating them.
Yeah, I think they felt like he was a little out of gas.
Yeah, I get it.
But there's other guys. You got Miles Davis.
You could have brought him in and run him.
You throw a screen. I love the screen to the tight end.
Yeah? That's your new favorite play?
No, I've loved it for years.
Oh, okay.
I've told my guy down south at the high school team, run the screen to the tight end. Works every time. Because tight ends these days are very mobile and athletic.
Yeah. They're a matchup nightmare.
Yeah. I didn't get they didn't try, and I just got a bad feeling sitting on my couch.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Meanwhile, sitting on the couch watching the Utes, you're like, everybody knows what's coming, and they are powerless to stop it.
Yeah. Is Fick this good?
Apparently. I don't know what else to tell you. I haven't seen anything yet. You say, okay, he's a backup freshman. He can't be this good. But literally every snap you've seen him play, he's been that good. So why wouldn't we believe what we've seen? Other than we watched a lot of football, and he looks like a skinny freshman. And skinny freshmen don't usually dominate. But it seems like every time he takes a snap, he's doing something awesome.
I'm buying his jersey.
Okay, there you go.
What's his number, 15? Fick. The Fick man. The Fixter. Fick-a-doodly-doo.
And then after you were done watching the Utes demolish Baylor, you watched BYU demolish TCU. It's like watching the same game all over again. Hey, look, this one's over at halftime too.
Yeah, in terms of the game, but they do a little bit different. They throw the ball more.
Yeah.
So, for
and
sure.
And Bachmeier threw it for almost 300 yards. A little under.
The young freshman.
Which sounds redundant, but, there've been enough.
You never know with BYU.
No, there've been enough gray-shirted return missionaries. Yeah.
But, yeah, and now they got the game of their lives at hand. That's what's cool about it, is if you're good, every game then gets bigger.
Yeah, that's why I hate it when someone says you can't win the big game. Well, you want a big game to set up the big game, to set up a bigger game, to set up another big game.
But you got to win the big game. This is the big game. This is the big game, man. Everything is at stake. This is exactly what they had last year in Tempe, is it not? It's exactly. The situation is literally the exact same.
If you win.
Yes.
I feel like I've said this before.
Now, I think the Devils were a better team than Cincinnati is right now.
It does feel
Very
like
clearly.
the Devils were much more – last year's Devils are more this year's Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Whereas last year it was the home loss to Kansas that was the issue.
Totally agree. Yeah. I mean, last year, hand it to an NFL back, throw it to an NFL receiver. Duh. In fact, the guy has had to coach way more this year than he did last year.
This Cincinnati team, even with the back-to-back losses, is better than that Kansas team. And it'll be a road game, not a home game.
Yeah, at that time, Kansas was hot. But nevertheless, you can go back and forth. Cincinnati is a worthy opponent. If it were at the Ed, at LES, I'd feel more confident. But I feel confident BYU can do. But it's funny now, you go literally the exact same situation. And I get the Tech losses, but you didn't compete to the level that you can against Tech. But you're going in there with one loss next to the last week of season on the road.
9-1 on the road.
It's amazing.
Got to win this game.
Yeah. You win it.
It is the two-time zone. It is the two-time zone travel. I don't like that. There's lots of examples of that.
That's why if I'm them tomorrow, I fly to Missouri.
To Missouri?
Yeah.
Okay.
Spend a couple of days there.
Uh-huh.
So then when you go to Cincinnati,
short trip.
It's only a one-time zone. It's not two. You got to think outside the box. And if I want on my tombstone, which is coming very quickly here, he thought outside the box. Come on.
But now he's inside the box.
Literally.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of a little play. Nobody ever does that. If you want to eliminate the two-time zone deal, just fly someplace else where it's Central Time Zone. And yuck.
You've been to a lot of Central Time Zones.
Don't they have a big thing in Missouri going on there? Don't they own Branson?
Branson? No, they don't own Branson.
Don't they kind of? Don't the Osmonds perform there?
They own a lot of land out a place called Adam on Diamond.
That right next to Independence? I read up on this stuff.
He's mixing and matching popular stories.
Well, no, he's working it, yeah.
Well, I'm ballpark.
They go to
I'm in the ballpark. I don't have exactly.
Hey, they go to Dolly World. Yeah, hey, do your
So
thing.
you go to Branson.
In Branson,
Oh,
I think,
it is?
yeah.
Ah!
I thought it could have been in Nashville.
No, that's Dolly World too. It's
We're talking about Missouri, not
Disneyland,
Tennessee
Disney World.
here.
We're talking about
You
Missouri,
ever
not
heard
Tennessee.
of free association on this show?
No,
before?
not from you. Not from you. No, he hasn't.
There's one person.
Stay in your lane.
But I thought maybe.
No, there's one person on this show who gets this.
So think it. They go to, and then you don't have to worry about them doing any funny stuff. You have them go to a couple shows at night.
Well, okay, here's the thing, PK. Why don't we just change it a little bit? Because technically, the Cincinnati Airport's in Kentucky. So why don't you just go down to like Louisville and hang out?
Louisville.
Yeah, but are we sure Louisville is in Central Time Zone?
It's not, but
that screws it up.
Okay, then just go to
go to freaking Branson. It's Central Time Zone. Okay. You relax there, you prepare for the game, and then you only have to make one time zone change. It makes total sense.
Go to Kansas City.
Get Reese on the line right now.
Go to Kansas City and hang out with Andy Reid.
He's busy.
Other things we've talked about in this show. He says,
I'm trying to help the Cougars. I've dedicated my entire professional life to helping the Cougars.
Nah, I don't think they feel like that.
Well, they should. Now, give me some stats. What do you got?
Whole weekend of NFL action. You learn anything important? You watch the Bills and the Bucks. The Bills with their back up against the wall, like the Chiefs. So the Chiefs are on the road against a better team.
I watched that entire game, and that was a phenomenal game by the Bills. I think the Bills, not that they're on cruise control, but they know their success is judged wholly, that's with a WH, one of those fancy words, on postseason success. Because you've been there and you've been on the verge, the doorstep, the brink of a childhood dream, if you will. And now you must open the door and storm in. In the very last season, you'll be playing in whatever that stadium's name is.
Okay.
Well, they change it.
Levi Stadium?
I don't know what it is.
Whatever it is in San Francisco.
Oh, okay. No, I
thought you were talking about the Super Bowl in the last game of the year.
Yeah. No, I'm talking the Bills. I think they're getting a stadium next year.
They are.
Right. And so for them, you got to have success. And if KC's out of the way, well, then there ain't no excuse.
Except the Bills' defense isn't good. They just gave up a gazillion
Cole
yards.
Bishop picking off passes left and right. What are you talking about? The defense isn't very good. How dare you disrespect Cole Bishop? Guy's from Atlanta. Came all the way out here. 3 years, 2 Rose Bowl appearances. I'm out of here. What was he, like a second-round pick, something like that?
Sean Tucker ran for 100 yards, and Tampa Bay ran for 200 yards.
Tampa Bay's a good team.
Okay, but they're going to see good teams in the playoffs.
Right. And so score more points, and you're good to go. Just like they did yesterday. I rest my case, you toilet face.
Going to see Derrick Henry in the playoffs. So that'd be a problem. See Jonathan Taylor in the playoffs. Will that be a problem?
Well, anybody who makes the playoffs ought to be a problem. That's why they're in the playoffs.
There's some pretty good running backs, pretty good running attacks. Denver can run the ball.
So this just in, the Bills are not a perfect team.
I know, but to have that particular problem in the playoffs, you're terrible against the run.
What do you want? The steel curtain combined with the 80, whatever it was, 5 Bears?
Well, that would be
and
awesome.
throw in the fearsome foursome coming off the bench?
That would be awesome, but also not giving up 200 yards a game on the ground. Missed a great quote from Kyle Whittingham. Do we have that? Do you have that handy, Yak? That quote where he talks about the 400 yards passing.
You got that quote handy?
Yeah, which quote?
The one I'm telling you right now. The 400-yard passing quote.
Give me a second.
Okay.
Well, it's a great quote. You got that quote handy?
There's only
you
like 15 of them.
You got to tell him the quote, then ask if he's...
Perhaps
you
if I
were
hadn't
totally
been
out of
interrupted, I
sequence.
would have gotten there.
Nobody interrupted.
Yes,
we interrupted because you were... No, this ain't you and your soccer
That's exactly what it is. That's
manifesto.
exactly what I was thinking. See, now he's got it because he did have it handy.
Right, because I was stolen to help out a brother.
This is Yak.
You got that quote?
I was about to explain.
I need to talk to you about that thing. It's like The Sopranos. They could never when they're on a public telephone. You know that thing? Yeah, the thing. You know that thing.
The thing. Kyle Whittingham, after the win on the road.
Didn't have our best outing defensively as far as yardage given up, but passing yards are different than rushing yards. If you throw for over 400, you have less than a 50-50 chance to win. That's statistically proven. And so, just proud of the way that the whole team hung in there. Bird Ficklin was probably the biggest catalyst for us when we needed it. He provided 2 huge runs for us, and the guy's just a really good football player.
So, you throw over 400 yards, you lose. So, bleep you, and you.
Fact.
I wanted him to finish it. Argue with a wall.
Yeah. You want to go look at the stats? Let's go right now.
Because he's looked at them.
Joe, tough guy.
He's looked at all of them.
I think you're smarter than the analytics.
It did bring that back, didn't it?
Yeah. He was taunting the media. That's why I don't like the guy.
Why do you do that?
What do you mean, why do I do it?
You know exactly
Speak
what I mean.
the truth? Because I was born to espouse truth. Put that on my tombstone. He was born to espouse truth.
Michael Penix, potential, going to get a second opinion, potentially season-ending
You're
injury.
ugly too, I'll tell you.
And we haven't heard yet about Aaron Rodgers and his wrist. Looked bad. We'll see if it's a fracture, and if so, how long that'll keep him out. And your Utah Jazz in double overtime despite a technical on the ball boy.
That was bleeping bleep.
That really was.
Will, please, come on.
It's a close game. He's fighting for a win, and the ref's out there teeing up the ball boy. That's delay of game. The ball boy was wiping up sweat. How is that delay of game?
Well, yeah, but you throw tortillas, they give you a 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct
Nobody
penalty.
threw a tortilla.
Right, but they say if you do, so now somebody did, in a sense, boom, we tee you up.
Because the player sweat on the floor?
Yeah, but
you have to identify who sweat it is.
They give you penalties. You hear it in basketball. Don't throw stuff, or we're going to get a takeoff. So, yeah, you're the home team. Control the kid.
Mop up the sweat faster. But there's humidity in here, Coach. I don't think I'd seen anything like that before. I was pretty out of left field. But they won the game anyway.
Just, man, kill the sound. On the Sabbath, I had to hear that.
You did. You did.
Of all the days.
It's pretty loud.
Whew. Man.
That was bleeping bleep.
Will. Where there's a will, there's a swear word. Remember when Mitchell, coming off the court, swore something, and then they banned the media from there?
That part of the hallway's off limits.
So to eliminate this, no more games will be televised.
Take them off TV. We're done.
Also, no one can buy expensive seats in the first 12 rows because they heard it too.
Well, they're used to hearing it. They've heard it for 30, 40 years.
Yeah. That's why they pay for it. They want to hear it.
Yeah.
5 wins for the Jazz now. They're sitting in the 10th spot. You ready for a playing game? Can they hold it? Can they hold off the Clippers and the Grizzlies?
That's what I need. Teams, the playing. It's just created so much excitement at the end of the season, said people who are paid by the NBA. So much excitement to see these teams that are under 500 getting into the postseason. That's what it's all about. Achieve greatness.
Jazz are 4-3 at home. They're going on the road. They've been a bad road team. So I assume it'll be different in Tuesday in L.A. It was Frank Layden night. Frank Layden had the quote a long time ago, learn to win at home, learn to win on the road, learn to win in the playoffs. So they're learning to win at home. With that win, they're now 4-3 at home.
What do you learn? These guys are Markin is like 28 years old. He needs to learn.
No, but Keontae George hit the game winner, and he does. No, Markin.
He hasn't learned?
He didn't look like he learned when he was celebrating. He looked like he was pretty happy. That wasn't I've been here before moment for him.
So? I mean, that's just a cliche. Learned. You got to learn to.
Yeah.
Come on. Did you play the game? I would expect somebody who got an announcing job who played the game to tell me that. It's like, okay, right here on page 7, say this. Come on, learn. You don't know how to learn to win? You need to learn how to win, and you've already been in the NBA 3 years?
I thought they helped him. I thought the air ball he threw up was off the dribble, and most people are much better catch and shoot, which is how he hit the game winner.
Yeah, but I like the fact that he's not a good three-point shooter, but he still had the courage to take it. He still believes in himself. That's what matters the most to me. Whether that thing went in or not, I mean, you want to have success, I get it. But the fact that he was like 2 for 9 from 3, and he's shooting below 30%, and yet you got Markkanen over here, who's the most unique 7-footer in the history of the game, apparently. And
we heard that.
And George has the stones to take it. That's what I want.
Coming up, your feedback and big money Arizona sports news for PK. Stay with us. DJ and PK, it is time for your feedback. What do you have to say about today's show? BYU blows out TCU to move one game closer to a spot in the Big 12 championship game. Is your faith restored in the Cougars? Dave Osmond, yes. It was a really impressive win over a very good Big 12 team.
Down by the lazy river, come as you please. The Osmonds.
We'll see soon if the College Football Playoff Committee feels the same way, but I am not holding my breath.
I am.
Gecko. I like what they did. However, BYU is lacking what it takes to overcome the Big Ten and SEC bias, which would immediately change if they were part of either of these conferences. Gecko, I have a hard time arguing with that.
Oh, win the games.
Yep. Got to beat Cincinnati. Can't complain yet. You're not to 11-1 yet.
Right.
But they better get to 11-1. Something's got to break their way, right? They'll get some help. And then...
What do you mean? Who?
BYU. And we've been talking about it with Utah, but it could be the same thing with BYU.
Let's go 11-1 and go 12-1. Or 11-1. I mean,
no.
10-1 and then 11-1. You go 12-1, then you got nothing to worry about.
Utah beats Baylor to continue a streak of crushing teams. So the Utes actually going to pull this off. No, the voters will not allow it.
Well, it's the committee, which I guess is a vote. But let's not rule it out.
Chewbacca says Utah will finish 10-2.
Yeah.
Lock emoji.
Yeah.
However, the things that need to happen ahead of them in order to receive an at-large College Football Playoff bid are dwindling as the season draws to a close. Thanks for nothing, Alabama and Pitt.
Right. And that's what we said, 3 years ago? 4 years ago?
And then there was chaos on the final days.
And then this happened, that happened.
We still have 2 days where chaos could happen.
I can remember literally my wife said, we're watching the Oregon State.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't going to work. I'm going to go walk the dog. And then all Hades broke loose while she was walking the dog. It's a good thing I didn't have that attitude. I stayed right to the bitter end because I believed in my Utes. I knew that Oregon punter was going to drop the ball at the goal line. And she comes back. I said, you're not going to believe this. I'm going to the Pac-12 championship game, and then we're going to the Rose Bowl. That's exactly what happened. So it's not about faith. It's more about hope and things you can't control. I'd be shocked if they didn't go 10-2. And they have a really good team, and away they go. And if it doesn't happen,
and you're talking about Utah going 10-2.
Yeah.
And BYU on 11-1.
Yeah, I'm talking about. Oh, I don't know about that.
Okay.
I would be shocked if Utah doesn't go 10-2.
10-2.
BYU, I would not be shocked if they lost to Cincinnati.
Mildly surprised.
To some level, I suppose. Yeah. Whatever you want. But I wouldn't use the verb shocked. Utah looks like a lock to go 10-2. This is one of the better teams they've had. And I would love for them to get a shot at Tech again because they got weapons that they hadn't developed or used at that point. Now, see what they can do. That would be fun.
Bray and Ficklin. And Dampier, I don't know that he'll be healthy. He's not healthy now. Yeah.
But if I got these other two guys,
it gives you big play possibilities.
I think he can run around a little bit. We saw it the other day.
Mm-hmm. He can get you 5 yards on 3rd and 3.
Yeah, and that's why their percentage on third downs is off the charts.
Yeah.
Because if it's 4 and under with Dampier, I think he gets it 80% of the time. Nothing is 100, but yeah, That doesn't mean they're going to beat Texas Tech by any means. I would just like to see it.
We're all done. Jake and Ben are coming up next right here on The Zone.